Alright. Everything seems to be working. Check YouTube, check Twitch. Once they load. Okay, that looks good. And then this one. Looks good, okay. Great. Okay, I'm just gonna hope that there's no... I mean, okay, audio's good. Okay, there's surely nothing goes wrong. But, okay, so this whole document, it's 14 pages, uh, is basically my homework for the PBE. I dropped the comp guide day one, but since then I've been working on this because everyone else has been working on their comp guides, and I can't be bothered. Uh, Especially since half of it is stuff I predicted day one. But now, once people focus onto anomalies, people can copy my homework for this too. So this document, which I will release when I do the video, hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully there's not much to actually trim down and edit, but yeah, talks about every anomaly, ranks them, talks about what it is for each unit, all that stuff. I'll just go through the document top down, and it'll be pretty straightforward. So anomalies. On 4-6, you have the option to place a champion into the anomaly. This champion gets a permanent buff, and yeah, you can re-roll it with gold. It costs 1 gold. There are 60, but this one is disabled. This is one of the broken ones, but there's other more broken ones that were not disabled because they weren't. I guess they're not as obviously broken. I don't know. Rerolling doesn't show repeats, so if you have enough gold, you can force certain anomalies, but it doesn't matter. So anyways, these anomalies are just buffs. So they were sold to be like a fourth item, but they're kind of like they're closer to like hero augments. Uh, these anomalies work for all copies of a champion. So basically, when you lock in a champion, like let's say you put it Draven into your anomaly, this will affect all Dravens. Like this will permanently affect you, or maybe it'll be like your strongest Draven, but like it'll stick with that champion even if you don't have them on your board. So you can't change it. Uh, the best unit to anomaly is typically going to be your main carry, or sometimes your main tank, wherever the focus of your comp is. So in cases where you have like let's say 6 Watcher Cogball, which is a really fat front line, and then you have a Cogball, you want to focus on the Cogball because your comp investment is very heavy on your front line, so you want to buff up your carry. Whereas if you're playing something like Sorcerers, where there isn't really much front line, but there's a bunch of backline, you want to probably put your thing on the front line Swain. Uh, so like you're just putting it on whoever is the most important unit in your comp. Sometimes there's like really broken stuff you can maybe break from this, but generally you don't want to roll too much gold. Uh, and you want to have at least a decent option. Like most of the time, you shouldn't have to roll more than like 5 to 8 times to get something that's like pretty good for your comp. Uh, that might change when there's more set in stone stuff. Uh, I mean, this might change after I talk about everything, but uh, we'll see how things look after day one and so on. So, couple anomalies that I still not entirely sure how this worked. At the start, this was a lot longer, but as I got to test out stuff, this is shorter. There's 2 that I saw a little inconsistencies with. Cosmic Rhythm. This is one. This is a very broken one. I'll talk about it later, but it's not super consistent or at least I don't know how consistent it is because I can't see. I'm only one person. I don't have like a large network to test every interaction, but there's a lot of theoretical interactions where it'd be broken. So, and there are some cases where I have seen where it's not consistent, but like I don't know if that works everywhere. And then another one is Touch of Frost, which is uh it has really tricky wording. So uh I can go here to the list. And this isn't not all these are updated, but I mean the general I don't think this one's changed at all. But it has some tricky wording. Uh when they die, they stun the nearest target. I haven't seen it like the stun work like just period. But when it is supposed to work, I don't know if it like if you like my qualms or if you kill the target immediately, the stun I can't tell. I think I've gotten it like once, so I don't know. But this could be very broken. I just don't know enough about it. However, the proc conditions are pretty straightforward. Like that, I figured out. It just anything that's hit by your cast, will be chilled for 4 seconds. So, yeah, but hopefully I'll learn more. I'll update these two at least later as I learned. So, anomalies that are generic enough to be picked off in. So as I go down, I have like for every unit, like what the best stuff is. Uh, they have the top three and some other ones that are pretty good, and then here are like all the other ones that like you could just pick pretty much any time, if you think it's good enough. And they're kind of sorted based on how situational they are. So, calling card and dual wielding. Calling card gives you a emblem based on the unit's traits. Uh, so if you have like a Lux, it can give you one of her two traits, as long as the trait has an emblem for it. So you can't get like emissary. You can't get form swapper. I think all the other traits are fine. And then dual wielding just gives you items. The items are just based on the recommended items. So when you hover over a unit, it'll show you some recommended stuff. It'll just pick from those. So if you want 2 free items, not bad. Whatever. Fireball. This is a free burn effect. It procs when your unit casts. It can you can play this in any comp. However, I mean, there's obviously going to be better options, but if you like desperately need heal, then this is fine. This section is just tanks. Most comps, if not all comps, have a tank. So, if you're okay with just putting something on your main tank and not spending too much gold, you should. Especially since some of these tank ones are actually are actually pretty broken. So, yeah. Here you have some generic carry options. I think all of these are some form of damage amp or attack speed. Yeah, these are damage amp, these are attack speed, and this is an execute. All of them are pretty like solid options. Some are a bit better than others. Like some are kind of comp specific, but like they're technically universal. Like you could play it in any type of comp, but the specific ones that you would take it are situational. Freestyling is trait dependent, so like if you have a lot of traits, like it scales with the amount of traits you have. So I'll look at the official wording. I don't know if somewhere here. Yeah, per activated trait you have. So if you have a lot of traits, it's good. Let's see. Bully is if you have a higher star level. So basically, you want to put this on 3-star units. And if it's not 3-star, it's not as good. And then, what's the other one? Comeback story scales with the amount of health you have, like your player health. So if you're 10 HP, it's high value, but if you're 100 health and streaking, you're not going to get much value. Or actually, if you're 100 health, you're not going to get any value. But yeah, these are attack speed, and yeah, so I'm not going to talk too much about what everything does, because that'll take a while. But yeah, These are AD carry. Like you can take this on pretty much any AD carry comp if that's what you're running. Uh, yeah. I mean, okay, this one is like its own thing. I don't know. This one's weird. These are good melee carries. This is basically it kind of is a carry augment, but it's like delayed. I mean, it's kind of like for melees, so like I'll leave it in this section. Uh, yeah. And this is for AP carries, generically. Like there's like all of these have like there's more AD carry, there's more AP carries, but these are like the ones that are like pretty universal. Whereas there's others that are a bit more specific that you wouldn't want to take on every AP carry, on every AD carry, on every melee. But like depending on who they are. Actually, this is not pretty friendly for most melees. Oh yeah, and then this is like an other category. In theory, good in every comp, but like they were like, I'm not gonna put these here. I'm not gonna bait people into taking them when they actually have a lot of new ones. Yeah. But yeah, if you don't have any gold and you have something that's like good enough that pertains to your comp, it's probably gonna be from this list. If you got something that's like BIS, which I'll talk about later, and obviously you go for that. So overall tier list, this is all 60 of them. I'm not gonna talk about everything. So the only ones that like sorted, the only tiers that are sorted are S and D tier, which so like want to know what to avoid and what are really good, and I'll talk about why. The rest of these are, I mean, they're in the right tiers, but they're not sorted within tiers. So like the difference between like this and this are, I don't know, like, and I didn't worry about that too much. But S tier are like, and S tier are in order by how broken I think they are, and they're all broken. And D tier I think are not clickable. So yeah. Um, Starting with Cosmic Rhythm, which I talked about earlier. What this does is it allows you to, instead of gaining mana, you just cast every 4 seconds, and yeah, that's broken. Like I hate to say it, there's just so many champions that like shouldn't be casting, because 4 seconds is very frequent. So there are a lot of units that should not be casting that often, and I will talk about that later. But yeah, I think that is the most. If you get a unit that can abuse this, I think it's just the most broken anomaly in the game, and it's not very close. Um, yeah. So okay, actually, I'm gonna talk about an Essence of Navori because this is one of the broken ones that right did disable, but there are 3 others that I think are more broken. Essence of Navori lowers the mana cost of the user each time they cast their ability up to a certain point. So I think it starts at 10% reduction and it caps at 50%. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere here. Yeah. So this is very broken on units that want to spam cast and want to scale up. There's a lot of scaling in the sets. You have Dominator, you have, I mean, you just have there's a lot of scaling in general. And this set, I mean, this is just the best way to spam cast, and it wasn't even close. Like, there are other anomalies that do similar things, but they aren't like nearly as good as Essence Navori is. So long as your unit would actually like be spam casting, which, like I said, there are a lot of units that do want to do that. But let's talk about the other 2 that I think are better than it. Invisibility. Uh, yeah. As the name would suggest, it grants invisibility. Let's look. Where is this? Where is it? Invisibility. Its label is critical chance because it also does that, but every 4 seconds you turn invisible for 1 second. This is an aggro drop. I didn't think it was an aggro drop in the beginning because there's no way this would be balanced if it were. However, it is. So, yeah. So it also has this effect that your next auto attack is a 100% crit chance, which is pretty decent for damage, but like even without that, this would still be incredibly broken. Uh, there's actually a lot of units that can use this with like even without the critical strike chance thing. So yeah, having that safety net is just really broken for a lot of units. Uh, just based on the unit's design, like it's very easy to take aggro, and then if you drop it, like the unit is like pretty much immortal throughout combat until like maybe they're like the last one left. Uh, this number I think is too low. Uh, yeah, and there are a lot of units that can abuse this, as I'll talk about later. The other one is Deep Roots. Where is it? Yeah, okay. So this is a tank one. This is supposed to be like a little quirky one. But the gimmick is not balanced. I think there's just complete oversight on to what you can do with this. So stats wise, it's pretty generic. It's a bit below average, but it's well rounded. All around, like this is like a very nice pick because it gives you a bit of everything, but it's like whatever. But the main thing is the unit cannot move, and they pull their targets into range, meaning you can pull enemies like close to you. So wherever you put your unit, its current target will be brought to it. Let's say you have a. So that's someone who can actually use this. Let's just say Trundle, and you have a enemy rel, and like some other things. Trundle's current target will be pulled to rel. So if Trundle starts here, Rel's already in range, so he'll hit that, but once there's nothing else in range, let's say Rel dies, set it, if he's still alive, will be brought to Trundle. And this is very abusable because of one mechanic I like to call backline, moving your thing into backline and kidnapping units. Pretty much any unit that you would want to 1v1 other units, or not even 1v1, but you don't want to fight in the middle of the board, but you want to like you just basically put your like a good 1v1 champion here, and they just like shred whatever unit, and then they pull the next one, and it is very broken. There are a lot of single target champions that have risk in like fighting normally, like that. That's the risk of like being melee and like whatever. But this removes all risk. And I mean, keep in mind other units can also hit it. Like you're out of range of the enemies, but you are in range of your allies. So as long as you're not gonna lose the 1v1, you can just keep pulling stuff, and it is disgustingly broken. However, don't put that on the unit that would lose, because then that unit will go and mess up your backline, and you don't want that either. But yeah, there's exploit with this. I'll talk about that in specifics later. Comeback story. This is one of the generic damage amp ones. This is just the most universal. What this does is it gives you damage amp based on your missing player health. It's not. Is it alphabetical again? It was like messed up before. Okay, okay. I think they fixed it again, so it's just alphabetical. 5% damage amp for every player health you lost in this game. It's not gonna have that much value early on, but you get this at 4-6. So let's say you have like 50 health at 4-6. That might be generous. That's already going to be 25% amp, which is pretty good, but I think this is best when you're at like 1 life, where you either have 2-digit health or 1-digit health. If you have 1-digit health, that means you are at 45% damage amp, which is amongst the highest of these other versions. Therefore, or you can take it in pretty much any comp on your main carry, and it's good. If you're unfortunate enough to be 2-digit HP, you're at 40% amp, which is still pretty good. So it's still higher than the other damage amps on average. Like the other ones, you have to do a lot of work to get higher. Like this can go higher, but you need to be hoarding gold, and that's not good. But this, you don't have to do anything. This, you're just playing the game normally, and the closer you are to dying, the more amp you have. So like on your last life, it's just better than the other ones would be anyways. So yeah, it is very strong. It's not broken, I don't think, but it's just better than the others. Like I say, these four were like the broken ones, and then this is just like normal S tier, like fair, kind of balanced. Uh, yeah. Dramatic entrance. This one's like not that broken, but it's like if it's like overloaded and like it feels unfair, but I don't think it's like broken. But I don't know. Okay. I'll talk about it. Dramatic entrance. Uh, at combat start, you are not fighting, and but after 6 seconds, you arrive with 70% max health, and you stun all enemies for 1.5 seconds. First of all, 1.5 seconds, like to the whole board, is pretty big. Like in the past, there were some traits that were dedicated to doing that. So, like you're playing with 7 Rebel, but for free. And yeah. Secondly, 70% max health is similar to almost all the other. It's either, I think it's just more than most of them. I think what the one that gets higher is like, what's it called? Fortified. It's right here. Yeah, it caps at more. I don't know if this is 5 times total or if it's 5 additional times. So, but like at best, if it's 5 additional times, it'd be 72, which is marginally more, but it takes longer to do so, and you don't get a board-wide stun. So basically, this is like a lot of other ones, but better. The caveat is you get this after 6 seconds. Like the unit isn't on the board, so if you are solo frontline, you're just griefing by taking this because you don't have your frontliner. But if your board is going to survive at least 6 seconds, or like if your frontline is going to survive at least 6 seconds, put this on your main tank, and then they have an anomaly that's better than pretty much all the other ones, and you have a board wide stun, which is very strong. Nothing wasted. This is pretty much set A admin, not quite, but like basically when units die, what's it called? Something wasted. Yeah. When an ally dies, the unit gains 100% of that the unit that died's mana. So like, if you have a Trundle that dies, whatever its mana was, set now has that much mana additionally. So if Trundle had 40 mana, your set gains 40 mana. This can be broken in the sense that there's a trait Visionary which increases the amount of mana, but even not, that's a lot of potential mana generation for free. It's much more reliant or much more reliable than other casting anomalies. Like I would say it was kind of close to Navori, but it was slightly worse. But this is like less consistent, but it's like about equal or potentially greater value. So yeah, it's a fun one. Stone Skin is probably the best like generic tank one that you can take in pretty much any case. Like Dramatic Entrance has like a bit of a nuance, but it's like very powerful. Stone Skin has pretty much no downsides to taking. You gain 225 armor and MR at the start of combat, and then this bonus is reduced by 10 every second. The thing is, the point of a tank is to stall for your carries, so 225 is just a ton. Like even if you like start like losing all your value, like if you live long enough, it doesn't really matter. So this making you so much more tanky than any other anomaly, like just kind of guarantees that your unit's gonna at least last for like the first 10 seconds, which is normally good enough. And like even at 10 seconds, you have 125 armor and MR, which is still better than like other equivalent bonuses, like anomalies. So what this pretty much does is it pretty much just guarantees that this unit isn't gonna die early. Like it's still possible, but it's very difficult. This number is just too high, I think, or maybe they should make it decrease slower, because by the time you get to the point where you lose your bonus, like if you make it that far, your tank has already done its job. So like it's even worth putting this on carries in some cases. Like you can put this on a carry, and it would just prevent them from being killable pretty much. So like if you can guarantee a unit like has that much resist that for that long, like it's just so strong. And I'll like in comparison, you have Bulwark, which is another armor MR one, but like look, this gives 40 armor MR and triple above 50% health. So like at best you have 120, which is the same as this, but like after 10 seconds, or for the thing is 1 second. And that's at max value. So like yeah, no. 225 armor MR is like having 2 stone plates. So you would like can be, pretty much solo frontline this unit as if you were having 2 stone plates, which is kind of absurd. And then the last one is Slow Cooker, which is a bit of a callback to League of Legends Arena, where there's an augment that does the same thing, or something similar. And what? Oh, actually, it's S. Deal magic damage. It's a like a Sunfire, but like uh skills off health, and the radius increases every 6 seconds, which basically means if your unit lasts long enough, you're cooking the whole board. And the thing about this is that you can heal off of this if you have any source of healing. So yeah, if your unit lives long enough, they're kind of a problem. It's not even because it's not even that this number is high. It's that eventually you're just hitting so many things that if you have something to complement it, like healing or something of the sort, you're just immortal and a problem. This is good on tanks. It's good on carries that have healing. Like it's like kind like you have to have the spot for it, but if you have the spot, it is very broken. And then okay, A tier, pretty generically good. There's a lot that are uh in most comps you'll be okay with taking any of these if you have like the right unit for it. B tier is like more average. They're like maybe a bit more either I don't know. I don't know. I have just A, B, C tier. Like obviously A is better than B, and then B is better than C. On this specific champion, it can vary. This is just like generically. So like, these anomalies are better on more units than these are, and then these are better on less units than this. Kind of on average. There could be some that have like really unique synergies that uh work on specific champions. They like Dragon Soul, for instance. You have Center of the Universe. Uh, like there are like specific interactions that could be really good on certain units, but yeah, that's generally how this works. And then D is kind of unclickable. Like there are cases where this can work, but I don't think there's a case where it's better than other options you have. So I'll talk about these in particular, so you know what they do and why they're not that good. First is Hunger for Power, which you're basically consuming an ally for some of their stats. Consume the nearest ally, gain 60% of their health and damage. This seems like a lot, but it really isn't. Like keep in mind you are losing a unit for this, but 60%. Like okay, if you're gonna sacrifice a unit, it's probably not going to be an important unit because if you're sacrificing an important unit, you're trolling. So 60% of the health of a unit that isn't that important isn't going to be good for a lot of comps. Like it's not going to be that much health, and then the AD isn't going to be that high. This set doesn't have that much AD. Like there aren't that many traits that give a lot of AD, so you're just going to have a lot of base stats. Yeah, like Conqueror, and you have like Artillerist. I think those are the only sources of AD from traits. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, but like the thing is, like you're not gonna have a lot to give, so I don't think it's worth sacrificing a unit that maybe you could have like some value just for stats when you can have an anomaly that does like gives like the same or even more stats, and you're not sacrificing anything at all. Like I think like it just severely needs to be buffed. Unstoppable Force is in the same boat where it just needs to be severely buffed. Unstoppable Force is right here. On takedown, charge the next target and stun them for 1.5 seconds, and then heal 10% max health. Like this isn't bad. It's just not very good. Like I think, like the stun is okay, but like 10% max health is really not that much. Like compared to some other stuff. Like every time I took this, I just felt like it was doing kind of like it was kind of doing nothing. Cause like it's fine in like a 1v1 case, kind of, or like on single target champions, but like even then, like things get like so hectic late game that like you don't even notice this. Like, cause it's one unit at a time, and like the unit, your unit has to be changing targets. So basically, it's on takedown, but like it has to be on takedown of the unit that you're hitting. Cause if you're hitting a different unit, and like you're not changing targets for this. So sometimes like you get a takedown on a technicality, like let's say you have like a shiv on your units, you get a takedown, but like it doesn't proc because it's not like the unit you're hitting. Like you're not there's no next targets because you're still hitting your current targets. It's only when you are changing targets. So it's only when the unit that your carry, that your unstoppable force unit is hitting. It's only when that unit dies. So it's not that good. And then yeah, this is just not enough. It's just bad. And the last two are like in the same category, so I'll talk about them. Arcana Overwhelming and Avalanche of Armor. This reads pretty much gain 50 MR, gain 50 armor. This is such a small number in most cases that's not even worth it. And then even in the cases where it's something considerable, you're not gonna grief your items or anything just to satisfy it. So like you can take this on like something that has a lot of like armor and MR, like a sentinel. Let's say you have 6 sentinel, rel with like a lot of stuff. You can in theory get a lot of things, but also why would you take a MR anomaly on rel? Like at best, like let's say you have like 300 armor MR, pretty good. You end up with 75 AP, which is pretty good, but you couldn't get that from other sources. And this is like a super, super niche scenario. You also wouldn't be anomalying rel often than us. That's, I guess, use something that's a bit better. Like a Garen, that's a more main tankable. I guess because it's 80, you will go with the armor one. Avalanche of Armor. Let's say you have 200 armor, plus 50, that's 250. You're getting like 60, 62 AD, which isn't a lot. I mean, it is a lot. But the thing is, on these units, it doesn't matter that much. So it really comes to like who wants these anomalies, and it really doesn't come down to much. I guess you'd put it on like more bruisery, but like even then, you would just prefer other ones that give you more AD, AP, or more armor MR, just depending on what you want. Even if you buff these ratios, like you have to buff it considerably for it to be worth it. But then I think once it gets to that point, it would be broken. So I don't know where the middle ground is. Maybe 33% is like better, like safer. I don't know, but the point is, alright, as of now, it's not worth clicking on these. There's, I think, I'll literally talk about the one case where it's like remotely decent, which I think is on Vander. Because, before he casts, he gets armor and MR. So, his attack is empowered, so like, if he has Avalanche of Armor, he gets the bonus damage for his attack. So his attack does a lot of damage. But even then, it might be better to just give him an AD trait if you want him to do a lot of damage. So again, it comes back to why would you take this? Yeah, but fortunately, there aren't that many of these that are like in the unclickable tier. The rest are pretty decent, and then you have some that are incredibly broken. So now I'm gonna go into the anomalies per units. Not all units would want anomalies, but like I'm just gonna do it on a per unit basis. It'll change as comps change, so that's why this is here. But like I was thinking of doing it on a comp by comp basis, but like that like can change, and like that's a bit more situational. And that's also a lot closer to like doing all the work for everyone. Like kind of like I don't know. So I have the top three, I think, in my opinion, marked, and then I mean, okay, I also have Essence of Navori, which I have it like it's disabled, so you can't find it anymore. But I have it marked in the places where it would be. So if it was in the top three, if it's in the first three, that's where it would have ranked before it was removed. And if it's not in the first three, like here, that just means that like it was takeable. So for each champion, you're gonna see the top three and then some others. Uh, and then depending on what champion that it is, you could also take stuff from here, if it's like, generic enough. So if it's in the top three, you'll have repeats from here if it pertains, because some of these are going to be in the top three for a lot of champions. So those will show up, but if they're not in the top three, they're not going to show up here. This is like just the more niche stuff. So like all the stuff here, if it's on the top three, it's not going to be here. But if it is, like if it is that broken, you're going to be seeing a lot, which, spoiler alert, you're going to be seeing some of these a lot. So, let's get started. Just want to drink some water, hold on. So I should probably pace myself, because I don't spend a lot of time talking normally, so my throat will not be able to keep up, but let's see how long I last. First is Amumu. Amumu is an Automata Watcher. This guy. His ability is, well, he doesn't have an ability, but he passively reduces all incoming damage by a set amount, and then every second he also does damage AoE in a 1 hex around him. His traits are Automata and the Watcher. He's a tank. He does a little bit of damage. I mean, he's pretty good. You're gonna see him in a lot of comps with Watchers. Automata is a bit niche right now, but right now, or like, to play properly around the Mumu, like, for a Mumu to be in a state where he is anomaliable would be a comp where he's like of the primary focus, in which case you're probably going to be playing around Automata. So I have that criteria in mind. Okay, Mumu isn't a right, like as of now, he isn't a unit that you would normally anomaly, because he isn't the main focus of any comp right now. He's just a one cost frontliner. But if you were to anomaly him, this is where this comes from. So I guess I'll talk about Automata right now. Basically, when Automata units do damage, they store charges, and then at 20 charges, they do damage based on like the damage that they did. So on a Mumu, stuff that gives him damage is very good, in addition to like stuff that makes him more tanky, stuff that like does that kind of stuff, or stuff that does both. So the best choices I have for him are Thorn Skin, which is a fairly generic anomaly, tank anomaly. It gives a decent amount of armor and MR, and it does damage to adjacent enemies when there is damage blocked. This is on any damage, so, and does damage to all enemies in range, so it adds up a lot. It's a very strong anomaly. It's not broken, but on something like Amumu with Automata, you get this automata stacks for free, so the interaction is very broken. It's not very broken. It's very strong. So that's why I think Thornskin would be the number one choice, just because it kind of caters to everything that Amumu would want to do if you were to anomaly him. Next we have Stoneskin, which I talked about before. It's just OP as a tank anomaly. Uh, Most often, if you're gonna be playing around Amumu, you probably want him as a tank, so that's why that works. And then Dramatic Entrance is in the same boat. Because he's not the main focus, I think it's pretty safe to put Dramatic Entrance here. If you were like, if you have him 3-starred and you have 3 items on him, like I think you would probably have other frontliners anyway, so it should be safe to take. And then this anomaly is broken. But other things that you can take, apart from like all of these that haven't been covered, if yeah, Laser Eyes gives it just does damage, so it's stacked automata, not necessarily needed, but like it works. Slow Cooker is like I guess better. It's a better. Also, these things aren't sorted. These aren't in order. It's just other stuff that you can take. Slow Cooker is very good on a Mumu, or it would be if you were to like it would be fine. It would stack automata, so it's pretty good. Slime Time does damage and it heals, so a Mumu wants both of those things. So it's pretty good. Touch of Frost. I don't know how it works on a Mumu because a Mumu doesn't cast, so it might just be that this doesn't work at all. In which case I'm trolling you. I'm sorry, but if it does work, if it does anything to any of the units that are around a Mumu, then it'd be very good, if not broken. However, I have never tried putting Touch of Frost on a Mumu. I don't even think I will, but if someone else wants to try that, good for them. It might be a thing, but most likely it is not a thing. Next we have Darius. Darius is another Watcher. Except he's a Conqueror. Conqueror is like Noxus from set 9, pretty much. He's a attack. He's a fighter. He's a bruiser. He's a very good item holder. He performs the same role as 1-cost Darius does in pretty much every set. This set he does a spin and heals. We haven't seen that one before. But this time he has a bleed, which is a bit more interesting. Doesn't change too much. You're not normally gonna play around 3-star Darius very much. And if you do, it's probably not to put items on him. You're just putting him as just along with other units. Because there are some 1-cost rerolls that do run Darius, but I don't know. But if you were to care enough to Anomaly Darius, have him as your main carry, what would you take? The first one is Diving In, I think. So what Diving In does, on your first cast, leap to enemies and stun a 2x radius for 1.5 seconds, and then you gain attack speed and Omnivamp. This is pretty good on Darius in particular because his spin is AoE, and I feel like he could do a lot with that. Like, okay, let's just... He just jumps into... something like that. On his first cast, he jumps in. It's in a large AoE, it stuns. It's a pretty good anomaly. But then he can actually use the positioning that he's in to do more damage. And potentially do damage to backliners, which I think is pretty good. There aren't a lot of units that want to be in this range because they're a single target anyway. So like, it's a kind of a gamble as to what things you're gonna hit. But with Darius, he's AoE, so it's fine. Even if he dies, like if he does damage to enough units, I think that's good enough. He also gets Omnivamp and some attack speed. The attack speed is whatever, but the Omnivamp is pretty nice for keeping him alive to maybe cast a second time. But yeah, Next we have invisibility. I talked about this. It's very broken. If your carry is Darius, he can definitely benefit from being invisible. Uh, Maybe not as much as other units, but like it is very broken. Aggro drop every 4 seconds. Can definitely be abused. So yeah. And then the third one I have Sunskin, which is, I mean, it's just to keep him alive. This is more if like you play him as more of a tank, which in a lot of cases you will be. They're kind of weird because like he's not like played very often as like a focus, but just covering a lot of ground with this. This is probably your best tank option. Uh, Other options, the finisher, which is like the collector. It just executes below a certain threshold. He has a bleed, so he can proc this pretty easily. If at any point in time they fall below the health threshold, he executes them, so it's pretty good. Touch of Frost. I mean, this time I know, like, he AoE, so anything that he hits will get frosted. So that can be pretty good. Wolf Familiars. This is an AD anomaly, and Darius is a Conqueror, so if you have that in, you'll have a good amount of AD. And, I mean, Darius with, like, AD items, so it's potentially a good free damage. Slime Time is healing and damage, like, can't complain. And then, obviously, depending on what role you fill on Darius, you can take, like a carry, a melee, you can take a main carry, you can take a tank, like, whatever you take on him. Uh, Perfectly fine. Now we have Draven. Uh, okay, so this one I'm not too sure about because some people have played it. I haven't played 3-star Draven, or I haven't anomaly 3-star Draven. I've played 3-star Draven, but I've anomaly someone else every time I have. So I don't know, but this is a unit that you could anomaly, so he could be the carry of a comp. Because he is an 80 backliner. He's a 1 cost, but he can be good enough to at least carry for some amount of time. There's 2 setups. There's Conqueror and there's Spitfighter. How likely he... I mean, I've seen him in Conqueror. I've seen Pit Fighter, but I don't see him re-rolled in Pit Fighter, so I don't actually know if that would ever be a thing. But, okay. The first choice, I have Knockouts. I don't know if this is the best thing, but it seems pretty good. Draven, the way he works... That's, airport. Draven, he stacks his axes and they empower his autos. So these autos do like a enhanced amount of his base AD, but yeah. So what Knockout does is on each cast. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's here. Gain some AD. Your next attack after casting gains bonus crit chance and it deals 90% true damage. Like bonus. So basically, he hurts a lot. He hurts a lot. His mana cost isn't that high either, so he can get this a lot. And with the amount of AD he gets from like Conqueror and stuff, this just gives him a lot of burst. It's like she's one of the better users of knockouts, because even with units that cast more frequently, they don't do that much damage, but like you can still take it on them. I think I don't know. I just think it feels. I don't know if it should be this high, but it seems very fitting. At the very least, it wouldn't be bad. Like I think like worst case scenario would probably be like maybe third. I don't know. But for now, I'll have it at number 1. I like it a lot. A second, I have Comeback Story, which is just generically very broken. Damage amp, based on how low you are. If you're at 1 life, it's a lot of damage amp. Draven doesn't get damage amp from his... I mean, he gets bonus true damage, but it's like a separate thing. So, what I mean is, you have 2 traits that give you damage amp anyway, which are Enforcer and Sniper. Draven is neither of those. So... yeah, there's no diminishing returns, so this is very good. Even on the ones where there are diminishing returns, which I'll talk about soon, or I'll talk about now, it's still good enough to take. You just not at the highest priority, but you can still take it. Now, because I don't know what you would play Draven 3-star in, Like he is realistically not anomaliable, so I had to consider it a little bit, but I don't actually know what you would do. So in Conquer, I have power absorption, which gives him AD, like a percentage of the AD of his allies that die. Because he's like the only backliner in the comp for Conqueror, he would realistically get it from everyone, and Conqueror gives AD, so he'd actually be getting more AD than like other units would in other comps. So it could be very good. And then we have strength training, which is more of a bruiser trait. What this is doing is it's not only buffing Draven, but it's buffing all his allies. All the pit fighters are AD bruisers, so pit fighter, like just the whole team is benefiting from strength training. Okay, let's. I'm skipping steps. Power absorption. It's what I said. Each time an ally dies, gain 5% of their AD, which is good for Conqueror. Which is it gives them. It just gives AD AP. So if you're playing Vertical Conqueror, that's like a lot of bonus stats to give to Draven. But strength training. Gain AD every 3 times the attack. Your whole team gets 4% AD. So Pit Fighter, it is a bruiser trait. All these units are AD bruisers, so all of them benefit from AD. So if you were to play it in that comp, it'd be good for all of them. It'd be good for Draven too, but it's good for all of them as well. And then other options are here. They're all fine, but they're not as good. Like Draven's pretty generic in like his like function, so there's a lot of things that could be good. Could also take anything like that, anything that would pertain to an AD carry. So there's a lot of options. Irelia is a tank. This is pretty much a reprint of sets 9 Irelia, 1 cost. Yeah. Uh, enter defensive stance, gain shield, deal damage, AoE, and deal scaling with the damage absorbed. So, if she's hit by a lot, she can do a lot of damage potentially. It doesn't add up to that much. So even when you solo frontliner and like she cast, it doesn't do enough to like one shot everything, which would be broken. But like, I don't know. It's not like as it's fine. It's not that broken. Sentinel just gives armor MR to it's a strength trait that gives MR MR. And then Rebel gives max health and then some stats, extra stats. So for Irelia, the first one I have is Cosmic Rhythm. You're gonna be seeing this a lot on tanks. So Irelia gets a shield for 3 seconds and then she does her damage. Uh, Cosmic Rhythm procs every 4 seconds, starting at when the spell happens. So after you cast, you're basically going to cast again, and you're going to keep casting. You're going to keep getting a shield, and you're going to keep doing damage. Irelia is not that strong, so it's not that broken. Like, I wouldn't really plan on anomalying Irelia in a lot of cases, but if you did, uh, that's probably the best you can hope for, because permacasting with tank is can't be a bad thing. A lot of potential damage, a ton of free shielding. Yeah. Next is Stone Skin. Same boat, it's just tank. Dramatic entrance. So there's some comps that like have Irelia solo frontline. I don't actually know if that's correct, but that's what people have on their comps. But if you were not to do that, then dramatic entrance would be pretty good. And some other things. This might be bloat. Yeah, that's bloat, but whatever. Yeah, but like slime time pretty good. Yeah. Slime time isn't I don't it might be generic enough that you can take everywhere, but I'm just gonna leave it here so this isn't empty. But yeah, Irelia also has a hero augment. We can look at that real quickly. What's it called? Blade Dance, yeah. It makes her it makes her dash. I've not seen this one at all, so I don't actually know. But based off of what, well, one people say that it sucks, but uh, just thinking about what's presumably I don't even. This is physical damage, so I guess he's an 80 carry. But this, I don't know. I like the image I have in my head is like uh set 6.5 Irelia. I think like that's what I think of in my head. I don't know if that's what that is, but yeah. So assuming that she's just an AD bruiser of some kind, uh, you have generic bruiser anomalies, invisibility, probably pretty good. If she's dashing, into the enemy backline, invisibility is probably pretty good. She probably would like an aggro drop. Uh, Grit is not used. I mean, I don't know if you'd put an IE on this unit, but even if not, like, it's fine. Just the aggro drops alone is broken. Comeback story. If you're taking a hero augment and actually playing around it, I would assume that you would probably anomaly it. So comeback story is probably pretty good. Then next we have Legacy of Shurima, which is a callback to Shurima from set 9. After 10 seconds, gain stats. Very good on bruisers. It's pretty good on tanks. It's a lot of health. Good attack speed too. It's okay on backliners as well. Units that can use both are really happy. Irelia hopefully will live 10 seconds, and if so, I think she would benefit a lot. I don't know if attack speed is good on her, but because her thing gives attack, the hero element gives attack speed, so I would assume that is something that she wants. Uh, if not, I don't know why they wouldn't have given her like AD or something, or like damage amp or something. But assuming that she wants attack speed, that's probably pretty good. And some other options. Yeah. Lux. Um, Lux is an academy sorcerer. Academy is pretty weird. It gives health and damage amp. It gives items, and it gives you like a list of items, and then it'll 3, 4, 5. It'll give you one of those items, and then you get some bonus stats. It's a weird trait. But then you're also a sorcerer, which is mage trait, gives AP. Pretty good. Lux's ability grants shield to lowest current health ally. Deal bonus magic damage on next auto attack. You look at this number. Yeah, that's a big number. Lux does a lot of damage. Uh, Probably the best Ludens user in the game. Uh, I think it's just a very underrated unit. She's a very good. I don't know. This unit's very strong. Uh, I think she's anomaliable. I think you can play a comp around her. I think she's very good. Uh, so yeah, she was a pretty good Essence of Navor user. Uh, Honestly, with the killstreak nerf on the Essence of Navor, it might have been more broken, but they removed it, so whatever. Killstreak might be better. What killstreak does is it gives you mana on kill. This number is wrong. It's now 25 because it was nerfed, but that's still pretty good. Uh, Lux, the way Lux functions is she just wants to one-shot units one at a time. You want to give her enough damage to do so, and then every time she casts, she shields, and then she one-shots something. Which is a very fun pattern. And then next we have Headhunter, which is a pretty generic one. This gives attack speed uh, on kill. So it gives flat, and then it gives permanently more based on Like each time you get a kill, you get one more. So this, if you're playing a comp around Lux and you're anomalying her, uh, she's going like her job is to one-shot units one at a time, so she will be benefiting a lot from this. Uh, and then in the similar vein, you have hyper velocity, which is like the same kind of thing, but it works differently. Hyper velocity, instead of getting on on kill, you gain on cast. You gain more, but over the course of the game, Headhunter is better. Hyper velocity scales in combat faster, but I think Headhunter is better because early on, like getting kills early faster would be better. But yeah, but basically these make her cast. All of these are just making her cast more because she doesn't need more damage. Like a single death cap or a single like archangels would be enough to just one shot pretty much anything that isn't like a 3 item tank. But yeah, and then other options. Yeah, one of the one anomaly I want to talk about is Ultimate Hero, which is anomaly that can give you a free 4-star. That's why they are nerfing 4 stars. Uh, you just put those mostly on the carries. It's not like, truthfully, it's not that insane, which is why I don't think I have it invested in slots anywhere. But it's not bad. And you can only take it on a one cost, so it's something to consider. I guess definitely a option. It's definitely a decent option, but it's not like I don't think it's the best option. Okay. Maddie. Maddie is a enforcer sniper. She's basically one cost Caitlyn, except instead of doing everything in one hit, she does it in 6 hits. But yeah, uh, she targets the furthest enemy away, fires 6 shots, and they do damage. She's an enforcer sniper. Enforcers gain a shield and gain damage amp, and then they also gain attack speed. When certain units die. Sniper is just sniper. Gain damage amp per hex away from the target. Pretty generic stuff. She is essentially one cost Caitlyn reprint, except Caitlyn actually exists in this as a 5 cost. But it's like basically the same thing, except instead of in one shot, it is in 6. Yeah. So Maddie has a high mana cost, and not necessarily going to be building like stuff to do that. Uh, like to cast faster. So I think Cosmic Rhythm would be very good because she would be casting very frequently. And yeah, if you do have attack speed, it's like or like Shojin or something, it wouldn't be as good. But if I think because she probably won't, then this is pretty good. And even then, this might make her cast more than it would with like attack speed. I don't know. I've seen 3-star Maddies like Maddie carry, but like I'm not too sure because I do see it with Ginsu's. So I think at some point in time this would be worse off, but like it's kind of hard to judge because I'm basing my experience of Maddie on the early game, but anomalies happen at 4-6, which is the late game. So, but yeah, high mana cost. She in theory could be good with it. If not, just you can skip it, take something else. You also have strength training, which good for snipers and enforcers. Most of the enforcers are AD. I think all of them are AD except for TF and Loris. Actually, I'm okay. Like most of the carriers are AD, so it would help a lot. And then the snipers are all AD except for Kog'Maw. So yeah, uh, good candidate because she buffs more than herself. But Eagle Eye is pretty much the same thing, except it's like only for herself. It's like slightly better, but like it's not like it's overall worse. And other options. Okay, so what Eagle Eye does is it gives her one range and then she gains damage every 2 seconds. Uh, at 10 seconds she gains 30% amp. At 20 seconds she gains 60. It adds up, but like it relies on her not moving, which she isn't likely to, but other things give similar stuff, like faster. Like on first cast, strength training is probably the same amount of AD. So yeah. So we have Morgana. Morgana is a Black Rose Visionary. Black Rose is a summon trait. It summons Scion, and he does Scion things. It's just a frontline extra unit. And then Visionary gives the Visionaries more, like, percent more mana. So, like, when you auto, you gain 10 normally, 10 mana. Uh, and then you can gain more. And then from other sources of mana, you also gain more. So stuff like Shojin gives you 25% more. Blue buff, which is reworked, gives you 25% more. Anything from augments or anomalies give you 25% more. That's two, and then you have 4, 6, 8, which also give more. Morgana is a dot champion. Like of units of the past, where you have like one or two dot champions. So Morgana is a one cost doing it. But yeah, she hits an enemy, does a lot of damage over a long period of time. She also reduces shields, which I've found to be pretty annoying when I play one of the few units that uses shield. I mean, actually, there's a lot of sources of shields, but not a lot that comes from units. It's mostly from traits. But yeah, she's an AP caster. Uh, because she gains more mana, kill streak is pretty good on her. Uh, the finisher, because she's a dot champion. Magic training, which is new. It is basically strength training, but for AP. On cast. Yeah, I'll show it. On cast, gain AP based on mana spent. Morgana casts a lot, so but also should be played with other units that also want AP, so pretty good. And then other units, other anomalies. Powder has high mana cost. Or okay, Powder from Arcane. Uh yeah, so she does a lot of damage in a large AoE, but she has a high mana cost. But yeah, she uh does damage in a 2 hex explosion. It does a lot of damage. Damage reduced based on how far away from the epicenter. So like, if she blasts the Morgana, she can hit like the Singed, but the Singed will take less damage. So like, she hits the Morgana, it'll do the most to her. It'll do less to Maddie. It'll do less to Singed. But yeah, basically, Powder does a lot of damage in an AoE, but like very infrequently. So to fix the infrequent problem, you can use Cosmic Rhythm, and then she's suddenly doing big AoEs very frequently. And yeah, that's broken. And then there's also a hero augment here, which is very interesting. But otherwise, Powder is still like an AP carry. So comeback story, broken. Novori was broken. Force of Friendship, which is it's similar to comeback story, except it scales with how many 3-star champions you have. So if you're gonna play like a one cost reroll, that is your time to take Force of Friendship. And that's where it could be better than comeback story. However, you have to hit other 3 stars, and you need to you have to hit a lot of 3 stars for it to be reliably better. And if you're at 1 life, this might be better anyway. So yeah. But now we have her hero augment. Yep. This makes her explosion bigger, and it also does damage to allies. Uh, yeah, and basically instead of 2 hexes, it's 4 hexes, which pretty much the whole map. But you can also do damage to allies. So I think people think this augment is very not good, but I'm not sure how they're building here, so they might be doing it wrong. But I'm not, that's not what this video is for. But the point is, you're building this. It's the same thing. It's just powder, but bigger. Not Jinx bigger, but like it's like I mean it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. So it's the same anomalies. Next we have Singed. Singed gains durability, which is damage reduction, and then he also grants ally attack speed for 4 seconds. He has a Sentinel and a Cambaron. Cambaron is the cash out trait, and this trait is super broken. It is like so broken. If you get the cash out. And then Sentinel is Sentinel. So he has a hero augments, but as a base value, he's got a lot of utility. So Cosmic Rhythm is very nice. Every 4 seconds, you're giving an attack speed, like a very large steroid. It's a case over 4 seconds, but you're pretty much giving an ally like permanent attack speed. So that's very strong. Like this is it's a very strong synergy. You could play this in a lot of comps, and like it's better than taking like an attack speed anomaly onto your main carry. So like it is very strong. Next we have Deep Roots, which is interesting. I don't actually know if this is. I guess it's okay. I guess it's to contribute to the kidnapping thing. Even if Twinge isn't 1v1, he's tanky enough to not die to the unit, and hopefully something else will kill the things. So with Deep Roots, he doesn't have AoE, so he's not being punished for hitting only one unit. But you can kidnap like Camille, and if he doesn't die to the Camille, your board can uh kill the Camille. We have to make sure that Singe is not dying. So yeah, you'd only anomaly him if you have like items on him. And then Dramatic Entrance is if, I mean, even if he's your main tank, he wouldn't be your only tank. So this is good. But yeah. But yeah, you wouldn't solo tank him. Singed your augment. It's basically set to Singed Poison Trail. Instead of giving attack speed, he gives himself move speed and Omni Ramp. And he has this Poison Trail. And he runs around. So because he runs around, if you make him get free aggro drops, he will not be touched until pretty much he's the last one left, and that is broken. Slow cooker, kind of same thing, except you're kind of contingent on him not being targeted instead of you getting it for free. But if he's not dealt with, like if he just walks out of auto range, your AoE is the whole board, and you have Omnivamp, so you're just going to not die, and you're going to cook the whole board. And then last chance is to pray that he walked onto backline and he got targeted and died, but like he still one shots the backline before dying. That's the hope. I have no idea how this works with Touch of Frost, but it could be good. And everything else is like generic. Steb. Steb is another arcane character. He's a cool passive. Whenever he heals, he also heals the two closest allies. And then his active is it does damage and he heals. He's an enforcer and a bruiser. Enforcer we talked about. Bruiser is just bruiser. But he single targets, so you can use kidnapping technology. He looks like someone that would do that. And yeah, you're not losing any damage. You're healing two closest allies for percentage of the amount. If you want to make sure it goes on the front line, you can just put him here. Whatever. Just in range to hit the closest allies. He also has a hero augment. Combat. Here. Instead of healing, he gets only vamp, he does more damage. Here, same thing. Same playstyle, he's still single target. But now with his Omnivamp, some stuff like Slow Cooker can be good. Legacy works well just because it's attack speed and health, which good on him. Yeah, Slime Time is healing and damage, so pretty good. Dramatic Entrance, if he's not your main tank, or if he's not your only tank, it's just good. My voice is not lasting, if you haven't noticed. Trundle. Heal deals damage, effect increased based on his missing health. He's a tank, fighter, like yeah, generic tank. And then he's a hero augment. Instead of healing, he gets attack speed and he gets permanent AD. Basically he stacks. It's basically stacks on stacks Nasus, except he gets attack speed. Yeah, I think people are playing this wrong because they don't realize what his spell does, but uh, aggro drop so he can live longer and actually fight deep roots so he can kidnap people. He can kidnap people and stack AD for free. So like he can when he hits one at a time and he just hits, even if he doesn't kill the target, as long as he's not dying, he's just stacking for free. He's not in the range of enemy carries, and he's just stacking for, like I see I'm telling you, it's broken. And the Titanic Strikes is because he has a lot of AD, so it does. Not sure what it does. It gives him like a Tiamat. So if he has a lot of AD and a lot of attack speed, this does a lot of damage. Especially since you want to build healing on him. However, you can take a lot of stuff on him. Vex, AoE. She's Rival Visionary. She just does AoE damage. And then more. Yeah. She just wants to cast more. I mean, it's just a generic mage ones. Uh, this is because she's Visionary. Visionary. Generic carry. Pretty good at this. Violet does single target damage, and then she does a little bit of. Actually, no, it's just all single target damage. It does pretty good damage. Yeah, and she's a knockup. But she's like a bruiser, so you can do the kidnapping strat, and you just kidnap them, and she just 1v1s people. You can make her invisible. You can give her stats that she's good with. Uh, yeah, other stuff that can work too. Violet like is oh no okay she's like not the best primary carry, but she's like a good secondary carry. Same thing as Vex. Yeah, like she's solid, but she's like an AD bruiser. So we have Zyra. Zyra does damage to target, and then she hits other targets nearby. So damage to Morg, and then other vines to like powder. She's also stuns the main target, but she's a experiment mage. Experiments is weird and complicated, and right now there's no comp that plays around Experiment Zyra. But I mean, I have a setup for it. The problem is that it's not good, but we'll probably talk about that in the future once it becomes less bad. She's also a sorcerer. Uh, Anomalies, generic AP. Energy absorption because she's a sorcerer, so she's played with other sorcerers. She can get a lot of AP for free. Uh, More mana. Let's not do that. Damage amp. Yeah. Zyra's not Zyra's not very broken right now, but she's I mean decent. Like even if you're not gonna use this now, in the future she might be more broken. So she is a champion that you could anomaly in the right meta. So now I have two costs. There's four more costs, and my throat is not handling it. Collie's a rebel, but she's also a quick striker. Quick striker gives that attack speed. That's it. Akali is a single target AP champion. She's a Magic Reaper. Yeah, she's a single target like assassin. She's also yeah, she's AP. But okay, so pretty much because she's a 1v1 assassin, she can kidnap things really easily. And then because she's not in the threat of being on the enemy board, she's at pretty much no risk of dying, so she can one shot things. She can win pretty much 1v1s in most cases, and then not be at risk of dying. So it's pretty good. Very broken. Invisibility. If she is on the enemy side of the board, at least she has aggro drops. Uh, So it's yeah. And then damage imp. I think in the comp that people play her in, she's the secondary carry, not the main carry. But like, it's I mean, if you're playing, if you're Anomaly and Kali, this would probably be the third best. I haven't uploaded it yet. I will probably I'll upload it when I finish the video. Either hopefully tomorrow with the set launch, but like later in the afternoon. Right now it is not public, but I'm gonna go through it and then hopefully I'll publish it. I think tomorrow, maybe. It'll be on whatever like the corresponding video for this, which I'm going through right now. But my voice is not handling this, so I might have to at least pause. But I should. I want to get this out by tomorrow. Yeah. So Camille. Camille's an enforcer and an ambusher. Ambusher is a crit trait. She gets free infinity edge, and she gets bonus crit damage. Low mana cost. She's a fighter. She's kind of like an assassin. Uh, yeah, she's pretty good. She like what's noticeable is that what's notable is that she, like I said, no, low mana cost. So a lot of that was playing around that. Invisibility, aggro drop on a melee carry, very good, but it also gives crits, which I think puts it over the edge over something like this, because it actually synergizes with their trait. Deep Roots is OP for the same reason that it is on Akali. It's like they're playing the same champion, except she's casting more often and she's AD, but it's like it's pretty much the same thing. And then Knockout is because she's casting very often. Uh, she does her thing. She does her cast, which is an AOE hit, or not, it's not AOE, but it's a burst damage hit. And then afterwards, she does another auto attack, which is another burst damage hit, and she does that very frequently. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of free damage, and other things you can take. And then, yeah, Camille is rerollable right now. People finally started to figure her out. So, yeah, I think in the comp she's played in, she is the main carry. However, I was Smeech buffed? I think Smeech was buffed, so maybe he's played. May I don't know, but yeah, Camille is quite strong. There is one clip of her abusing invisibility and firelight. Uh, I mean, I'm just happy people finally started listening to me about invisibility, but like, yeah, there's definitely a thing here. But yeah, Camille's strong. And she's an enforcer, but you don't play her with that. But yeah. Leona is a tank. She's a very boring tank. She's Academy, which is a very cringe trait, but yeah. She was supposed to be the tank for this comp, for the Academy comp, but like, she's a 2 cost, so it's like, it doesn't really work out that well. She's a Sentinel. Ability gives her durability and damage. For some reason, I thought that this gave her durability and it's shielded as well, but like that would be broken. So it does not do that. It's durability and then AoE damage. But yeah, notice 3 second duration. What does that mean? Cosmic Rhythm, baby. Uh, she has 1 second of downtime on her ability, and that is broken. Dramatic Entrance. I don't know if there's a comp where she's main like solo. I don't think she's ever solo tanking. She's definitely main tankable. Main tankable. Uh, because I mean, there's certain setups I have for that. I don't know if it's a meta comp, but there is a setup I know of where she is. And Dramatic Entrance is broken, so why not? Because you at the very least you'd play her with like 6 Sentinel. So, if your 6 Sentinel board is dying in 6 seconds, uh, it might have been lost anyway. And then Slime Time is good in particular because she has it's proccing during her ability, so she has Sentinel and she has durability, so she's just healing, and she doesn't have healing otherwise. It's hard for her to get healing, so even though it's not like a ton, it's good enough. Yeah. And then I have her as a deep roots champion, just because like her damage is not that important. She can kidnap if she wants to, but she needs her backline to actually do damage because she does not. Yeah. Nocturne is pretty cool, but I think people don't know. Okay, so he's like not meta, but like I think he could be meta, but I need to play him more. But also like, yeah. But I think yeah, he's really I think he's cool. He's a common quick striker. Uh, he's very I don't know how much of a quick striker he is, but he's a very good automata unit. Like I know the comp he's played in is quick striker reroll, but I think like he could be used as an automata spammer. What his spell does, it makes his attacks do AoE and it makes it bleed, which very quickly does stacks this. So yeah, a quick strike is technically to make him go faster, but like it's not nearly like the same value. Like even if he autos once, he gets the like a ton of like if he hits solo frontline, stuff wraps around him. He autos once, and then just from that auto and the bleed, he gets like I think if he hits 6 targets, that's like what 13 stacks. Like that's pretty. That's like full wrap. But the point is like, yeah, this unit's pretty cool. But his traits are not in the meta. But because he's AoE, I like diving in. If you can get onto the backline, uh, and AoE them, that's pretty good. Uh, yeah, there's not many good AoE units in this set, but Nocturne is one of them, and he's quite good at it. Uh, Invisibility, generically broken. Uh, he's a melee carry, so yeah, very good. Last chance. This is committing to the idea that Nocturne just wants to do as much damage as possible, even if he dies. If you get like a full wrap and he just does as much damage as possible, and he might have died in like the first 6 seconds of the fight, but like you're also one-shotting like the entire front line. So this kind of lets him commit to that. Other stuff that like are good. He's good with a lot of things. One I want to talk about is Center of the Universe because I think this is something that's supposed to be very good with him. The problem is that this isn't that strong, but I think it's supposed to be for Nocturne. Like, it's like perfectly suited to be good for Nocturne. It skills with attack speed. It does AoE damage around him. Uh, but it's not like. I mean, it's fine. It might be the fourth best, to be honest, or maybe the fifth best. I don't know. These aren't in order, so maybe sixth. That's I don't know, man. But yeah, Nocturne very cool unit. Rel, another honestly not that bad unit. OP traits. Her traits are really strong. Conqueror, Sentinel, Visionary. She connects all these traits incredibly well. What she does is she gets a shield and then does damage. When she hits enemies, she steals armor and MR. In theory, she could stack from casting a lot. In practice, not gonna happen. She's not that tanky. If she can live a long time, like she could be a problem, but like I wouldn't count on that. One thing I think that's super good about Rel is because her traits are OP, she has Conquer and Sentinel, so she is one of the best users of these. I don't know if like you should actually take these, but in a similar vein, I also don't know if you would be anomalying Rel ever, but I'll talk about these interactions. Uh, she gets armor and MR from here, and she gets AD and AP from here. So what share your energy does, you grant your stats to enemies around you. So because she has more of these stats than other people, she just like this is the probably the most value you can get from this anomaly. So if this anomaly gets to the point where it's like good, a Rel would probably be the best user. And then miniaturize is the same thing, except you're sacrificing your Rel. However, that might not be a bad thing because Rel isn't that important for a lot of comps. Like you can afford to sack your Rel, in exchange for her stats. Unfortunately, uh, she is kind of just her stats. Uh, but yeah, so she would be the best user or the best unit to do these on. If you were to do them at all, if you were to anomaly Rel at all. I don't actually know if that's like correct to do. That's like what you could do. And then also Cosmic Rhythm, maybe you can get her infinitely stacking. Uh, because like she like has the shield, so she's mana locked for the 4 seconds. So at least you can permacast and try to get stuff. Uh, I haven't like I said, Cosmic Rhythm. I haven't tested enough, but in the cases I have tested it, it's broken. So if it does give her a permacast, she could, in theory, be a very big problem. But we'll have to see once this gets on live servers and people have played this enough, and if people actually like have seen this, uh, we'll very quickly know whether that's a thing or not. Yeah. Renata, another personal favorite of mine. She does damage and she shields. She it's her Q from League. So let's say you have like enemy, and then like ally, I mean whatever, ally. She hits her main targets, and then she does the AOE damage, and then she AOE shields. Like it's the same AOE, but like also if you pass through any allies, so basically that's different units. Anything you pass through gets shielded, and then it also shields AOE around the main target, and then the main target does damage. So yeah, AOE shielding is pretty broken, and there's a setup for that, but it's not a meta comp, but I'll talk about that in the future. But yeah, she's Cambaran and Visionary. I think she's a very underrated Visionary. And then Cambaran, I think she's appropriately rated because the trait is just disgustingly broken. But yeah, Renata, very good Essence of Nahor user. She perma shields her entire front line, and that was very broken, and they removed it, which is very sad because I was cooking. But I mean, I have too much stuff to cook, so it's fine. But you just want Renata cast often, so I'm not entirely convinced what's the best order. Her mana cost is like not that low, so I don't know if kill streak is best option. Nothing is wasted, probably better. Uh, on average this is better anyway, but in the comps that you play Renata, you're gonna want to keep most of, like she's keeping her frontline alive a lot, so maybe it's not. But you just wanted to cast a lot. Uh, hyper velocity. Not sure if it's hyper. It might be Headhunter. It depends on. Eh, I don't know. She doesn't get a lot of kills, so I don't like. That's why I didn't put Headhunter. So I well whatever makes her cast faster, and then this is just more AP. Which if she's casting a lot, and her board is gonna be AP, it's good. But some combination of cast more plus magic training is gonna be the best option for her. Set Rebel Bruiser. He is a set 9 reprint. Yeah, he does damage and he stuns. It's pretty cool. but I don't know why they made him this. I don't know, like they made him this color, and people are upset about that. I don't know. I mean I also agree that these colors kind of look kind of terrible on him. But anyway, he's a tank, so you give him tank. Just generically the most broken ones. Any tank anomaly is good. He doesn't have a hero augment to the set, so uh, yeah, there's none of that. It's kind of hard to justify putting that many tank items on him because he's not that tanky. He's just CC and damage. But if you were to anomaly him, uh, just any tank options are what you're going to be looking at. Tristana is a artillerist and an emissary. We haven't seen either of these traits yet. So emissary is cool because it's like ninja, or okay. It gives bonuses at 1 and 4. At 1 it gives the one bonus, and at 4 it gives all the bonuses plus an additional bonus. So Tristana gives allies 6% attack speed per star level that they are. It's not a lot, but it's like pretty good if it's considering that it's for free and it's to all allies and like yeah. And there's also Nami, who's a 3 cost, and she gives like half of a Shojin to her whole board, which is pretty good. Ambessa gives 2 arm and MR per each enemy that dies in combat. And Garen gives a shield to allies next to him at the start of combat. So Emissary is pretty cool. It's a very flexible trait. Uh, Mostly at 1, but there are some comps that use all 4, and yeah, that's pretty cool. And then Artillerist is pretty much Cannoneer. Um, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why they didn't call it Cannoneer. It is literally Cannoneer. But I guess they nerfed the numbers, but like, it's basically Cannoneer. Gain AD. You launch rockets every 5 autos. Yeah. Tristana is also cool, not just because of her traits, but her ability. So her ult just gives her. It's just it just does damage, but like uh, it's one ricochets when it kills, and 2 it gives her permanently AD, like permanent AD if it kills. So what you really want is to have Tristana's ult kill stuff and stack permanent AD. Uh, she's very viable as a carry and as an anomaly subject. So yeah. Okay, so the first appearance of Call of the Week. Uh yeah, this is a very interesting one. Uh what it does, it gives you crit strike based on the target's missing health. Every 3 seconds, target the lowest percent health enemy in range. So at first I thought this was like set 9 Deadeye, where it just you get like a free auto onto this target, but what this actually does is just like it just changes your targeting. So essentially smart targeting, at least for the purposes of Tristana, where you want to try to hit the lowest percent health anyway. So like you want to hit the squishy champions. So this is essentially smart targeting. So this helps her stack more, and the crit strike is good. Tristana normally runs Infinity Edge because she wants to kill with her ability. So this pretty much gives her like a ton of crit for free, and then even often overflowing to crit damage, so it makes her cast do a lot of damage. But even without that, the smart targeting is very useful. And it's pretty unique to Tristana, so yeah. I don't know how many other appearances of this we're gonna have, but it is very good. Hyper velocity gives her attack speed when she casts. I don't know if I showed it. I just like talked about it, but I didn't show it. Uh, Gain attack speed, and then uncast gain more, and it's like it stacks. Whereas Headhunter, I don't know. I think I did talk about it, but yeah. Uh, could be a Headhunter unit, could be a hyper velocity unit. It's probably I would probably put Headhunter. they made it one. It's one word. It is one word. And then this is damage amp. Uh, Good user of a lot of stuff. Because she's a very versatile unit, she can work with a lot of different things. I think generically, comeback story is just OP, so that would be my third pick. Next we have Urgot, who is also an artillerist, often rerolled with Tristana. He's also an experiment pit fighter, so he's the only like bruisery artillerist. He's not a tank, but he's like more of a frontliner. He has 2 range. So he's not a tank. He is a carry, but like he's like more utility slash bruisery than he is like a carry, and he's not a tank. His cast has AoE damage, and it sunders or reduces armor. The experiment bonus has some tech, but right now it's in the same boat as Zyra, where experiment is just not very good, but when it's good, I'll talk about it. But basically, he's the bruiser artillerist. I'll leave it at that. However, he is very good at dealing damage if you set him up for it. I think, uh, I think because he's a bruiser, and he's 2 range, you just want him to get invisibility. So what I will say is that his experiment bonus makes him charge. So he goes into the enemy board more often than he should. So this helps keep him alive and more damage. Last chance helps keep him alive. He's very good at dealing damage, so this is pretty good. Hyper velocity makes him get more attack speed when he casts. He doesn't cast super frequently, but like he does enough. Like what I will talk about another time is that attack speed is pretty good on her guts. But other options that would be good, the stuff here, comeback story, something like that. Uh, he's not like super good at AoE, so I wouldn't recommend Dive a Bomb or diving in, but he has options. Uh, Pretty versatile because he's just AD. He is like kind of everything. He's AD carry, but also bruiser. So yeah, that it gives a lot of options. Now we have Vander, who might be my favorite unit of the set, at least playing on PBE, because I completely ruined this unit for the entirety of the set, or the launch, or just the PBE. Yeah. He's a family watcher. I didn't talk about family, but basically family is just him, Powder, and Violet. What it does, it reduces their max mana, gives some other bonuses, gives some durability, attack speed, and the heist. Yeah, the heist. I'll leave that for other people to discover. But yeah, he's also a watcher. But more important or more interestingly is his ability. It's 50 mana, which is very low. Uh, and then what it does is he braces and he gains armor and MR, and then afterwards he does AD to the like, single target damage to the target. This amount is increased by every 1 and 2 cost champion on your team. This number started at 200%. It is now 100%, or it's now 100. It's probably going to be lower. Basically, Vandar is a one-shotting machine. He gets too much damage. He's supposed to be a tank, but I found very early on that this guy with this setup is actually just a god. Because he gets AP and he gets AD. He's very tanky. He has Watcher. He also has 40 armor, and 20 MR plus 20 more MR, so that's like he gets a lot of resists, a lot of damage. Basically, this guy will just one-shot your unit one at a time. It's Lux, but it's a frontliner. But he's also immortal. Because he gets 300 armor and armor bonus. Plus, he's actually just insane. They might fix it, but for now, well, he's not. He is, to me, an AD bruiser and probably the best one. Uh, yeah, so he's practically immortal, but if you give him an aggro drop, I don't see how he would die unless he's the last unit alive. Uh, so he gets like ridiculous amounts of armor and MR, but if he aggro drops, he's not taking any damage. So, like I said, I don't see how he would be killable. I haven't gotten the combo, but I've gotten invisibility on other champions that are less good. So, yeah. The only problem is that Render takes a while because he like charges for 2.5 seconds. So, he needs another source of damage, but yeah, it's just very strong. Kill streak is because, well, he's probably going to kill anyways, but he also has a low mana cost, so this reduces the downtime between him not having this massive amount of armor and MR and him having it. Slow Cooker works because he's practically immortal anyway, so he'll have time for this to scale, and then he'll be healing from this damage anyways. Avalanche of Armor, I talked about it. This is like the only user of it, I think, that would be like playable. I don't think this is very good, but it's like the only case where this anomaly is good. A lot of other options. You can also build him as a tank if you want to. Uh, he's like not as crazy of a tank, but yeah, you can build him as a melee carry or a tank, and all of them are like fine. It just depends on what you're going for that game. Now we also have the hero augment. All the gloves off. What is it? Yeah. So this is weird in that it removes the resistances and it makes him do more damage and stuff. So I'm pretty sure this augment makes Vander worse, but it's not like the augment is bad. It just makes him different. So this makes it so that he's actually more dependent on having protection and resistances. So in the hero augment comp, you would actually want like 6 Watcher and stuff, and like you need like setup for him, which is yeah, I don't know how that works. And it also makes it so that like there's values of having AP. So like I guess it's like you don't go Titans, you just go like this. It's like the same thing. But yeah, the point is the comp looks a bit different. You want to like you kind of plays the same way, but except you actually want to put more tanky on him because he actually needs it more. Which is why I think this augment makes actually makes him worse. So yeah, invisibility, kill streak, kind of the same thing, but stone skin because he just needs help staying alive because otherwise he might not. Because he's actually very prone to dying without the defense buffer he gets. I mean, honestly, this might just what might be gutted is this armor MR. Like they might just like honestly cut it in half. But for now, to abuse this, it would be something like this. You could you could still go bruiser, you could still go tank. Uh, the only thing is that hero augment vendor needs a bit more protection, so keep that in mind. Blood. Tank. He heals and does damage. He's Black Rose, which is summon trait. Sorcerer, which is mage trait. Watcher, which is a tank trait. He is a tank. He's like I don't know. He's a triple trait, so he's like whatever. But he's not a very good unit. But he's got very good traits, so he's gonna be seen on a lot of boards. I wouldn't anomaly him. Like like a lot of the units that are not, I say are not very good. But if you do, just give him tank. Just give him tank stuff. Uh, that's kind of what he does. However, he also has a hero event. I forgot what it's called. It's called Criminal Impact. So it should be like cute. Yeah. It gives him range and it makes him. Okay, the numbers are wrong, but like, cause like the numbers were changed. But uh, basically he's a carry. He does damage uh to three enemies. And he gains damage amp every time he casts. This guy's like a he becomes like a one of these users. Maybe something like this. But yeah, he's a range carry. Pretty good, but I've never seen it. But I don't know. I don't know if people think it's good or not. Actually, I think people think it's bad, but I think it's because it was bugged. I don't know. But yeah, the point is, yeah. So super broken with the Hori was removed. Other stuff to help him cast more, pretty much is your best option. You can go with some other stuff like magic training, I think, or just anything that like helps. He's a mage, so any mage anomalies would be good on him. But I think anything that makes him cast, but more especially, is good on him. Right. And then we have Zeri and 6. Zeri is Firelight Sniper. Sniper is Sniper. Firelight, uh, very interesting trait. Every 6 seconds, Firelight dash. They attack with infinite range and they heal a percentage damage taken. If you're not taking damage, the healing doesn't really do anything, but you also dash, and yeah. Zeri's spell is also interesting because it's just a passive. Every 3 autos, you do a bonus, like you do a bonus effect. You do more damage, and you do damage to target 2 targets nearby. This is like a typical like I don't know like one of these like just generic AD carry. With that in mind, Ginsu's user, and should be played with other snipers. So strength training can be played. You wouldn't take this if you were to play around Kog'Maw, which I mean the main comp you see Zerian is with Kog'Maw. But in that comp you also probably wouldn't Anomaly Zeri, you'd play Anomaly Kog'Maw, so there's that. If you're to dedicate to Zeri, then this would probably be good because you'd probably be playing like 4 sniper and all the other snipers like strength training. Comeback story. She's a sniper, so it's like a little less value, but still pretty good. Hyper velocity. She sucks it really quickly because she casts every 3 autos. So yeah. 1,000 cuts. One I'll talk about. Doesn't show itself a lot, but it's very good on a few units. Basically, you do 2 damage, and it ramps up. The more you use it on the same targets. It doesn't reset, but like it's like per unit. So like if you're hitting the Lux and then you start hitting the Aurelia for some reason, which I'll talk about later, uh it'll like your stacks on Lux stay, but like it doesn't carry over. So like you have to it's like it's throws per thing. So if you go back to Lux, you have the stuff you had before, but yeah, it doesn't carry over. But the thing is, Zeri has Firelight, and that makes her dash, and that sometimes makes her change targets based on her range. It doesn't happen often, but like sometimes it does. So that's why I don't. This would be higher if not for that. So that's why I didn't put it there. But it is quite good. And then other things are just generic 80 carry options. All these or any of stuff above. I have Ziggs. Scrap, which I did talk about. Scrap is set 6 scrap. Uh, it gives a shield and it upgrades components on your items into full items. Like depending on how many you have, like what traits. So, if you have like a random, like a tier, it would upgrade it to a tier item. So, yeah, very good trait, very cool trait. Also, Dominator. First time we see that. Dominators get a shield, and then when they cast, they gain AP based on mana spent. So, like you see the 25% he gets. So his mana cost is 60, so he gets 15 mana per mana cast, or per cast. So Ziggs would primarily be played with Dominators. If you were to main carry him, you can maybe play him like in Scrap, but you wouldn't play him as the main carry. So, I don't know. Energy Absorption is good because all the Dominators are going to have a lot of AP, so you get stuff for free. Novare would be helping him stack more. Uh, Nothing Wasted helps him cast more. Magic Expert uh, multiplies the AP he's getting. So, okay, what the experts do. So there's like Defense Expert, uh, Attack Expert, Magic Expert. They all do the same thing, but like depending on whatever. Uh, you get more AP from like other sources, so it makes the AP gets from his Dominator traits more. Can also work with stuff like this, or anything that helps him cast more, anything that helps mages. And then his actual spell, he throws a bomb at the target, and then that explodes into mini bombs to other enemies. There's 3 mini bombs, so he hits 3 random enemies. Okay, I'm gonna relax for a little bit. Okay, so Blitzcrank is a 3 cost. He's Automata and he's Dominator. He has a passive and an active. His passive uh makes him deal damage he takes a little bit, like a small percentage of it, back to the target. And his active gives him a shield, and then he does damage, and then he also reduces their damage by a small amount. Uh, yeah, so his cast is a shield, so I think we see where this is going. It's 4 seconds. Shields for 4 seconds. Yeah. Also Dominator, so he stacks AP. It's pretty broken. Thorn Skin is to satisfy Automata. Uh, don't know if that's actually. I don't think he has Automata in the comp he's played in, but like, if you were to do that, it would probably be that. Realistically, it's probably like you should probably just stone skin him anyway. But I'll pretend that you're running Automata in a Blitzcrank comp because that would be pretty good. And then Slime Time is the same thing. It's just the healing version of this. Honestly, it might be better than this, but Actually, it probably is better than I'm gonna change it now. And I'm just gonna stone skin this. And I'll just do orange skin here. That might be more fair. It might even be stone skin second. I don't know. Uh, I'll just pretend that slime time is good enough to compete. But yeah. The Trank isn't a common tank right. Like he's not that good right now in the meta. I feel like he is better. Like he should be good. He just like needs to find the right meta for him. But I think he's a good unit. Cassio, also Dominator. She's just a Black Rose. Uh, she does damage, and then every third cast she does damage to 3 enemies. And she's a low cost Dominator, and that's kind of her gimmick. So she is a blue buff. Like she's one of these. So Cassio, very insane with this when it was in the game, but otherwise she's a Dominator, so energy absorption is very good. Stealth that makes her cast more, also very good. Let's not do that. Also, like lots of options here. Uh, Mage armor. I'll start putting. It's good on Dominators because they stack AP infinitely. Uh, and any other mage. Anomaly are also good. Ezreal is an artillerist. He's Academy Rebel as well. His spell. He does damage to targets and then AoE and then he does damage again. Like so he does single target damage and then he does AoE damage. Wait, or is it? No, wait, it's the other way around. It's AoE and then single target. And they changed the number drastically because he was kind of terrible. So I think at one point these numbers were the same, and that made him very bad. But now he's good. So yeah. Uh, Generic damage items. He's good with Titanic Strikes because he gets AD for free, and he kind of like is committed to this AoEing down role. So I think he's good. I think this is just good with Artillerist. And then Headhunter, if he's your main carry, cast more. He doesn't cast it that often, so it's not a hyper velocity champion, but yeah. He's a generic AD caster, but he's also an artillerist, but he's a caster. Actually, I think all the artillerists are casters except for Urgot. Or in terms of like how useful their spell is to their kit. So a little odd, but whatever. Gangplank is a form swapper. One of the more interesting traits. So form swapper changes his ability if he's in the front or the back row. I can't show what the back row. So okay, so he's melee if he's in the front two, and he's ranged if he's in the back two. I can't show what the ranged one is because I don't think any website has it so that you can do this. I'm not going to make teams or like I'm gonna let other people do that because other people already are doing that. So you have like stuff like tactics talk tools and other websites. So anywhere you where you get like your comps normally, just refer to those for comps. Like I had that at the start at like day one, but I'm gonna let the people do their thing because they're gonna do their thing anyways. I'm gonna do the things that other people are not good at or too slow to do it. Like everyone's afraid to touch this right now, but yeah, no, they just want me to do their homework for them, so I'm doing my homework, and then other people are gonna copy it, but that's okay. Uh, the I'll probably talk about the comps briefly, maybe. I mean, I'll talk about it in the sense that like the units are. Yeah, I'll talk about the. I mean, that's okay. So I'll proceed and then I'll kind of explain. Gangplank melee is like not used at all, really, but Gangplank ranged is very strong as a reroll carry. You play with either you can play him in all of these. Most as a reroll, you don't would play him as a form swapper, but you can play him with all of these traits. He was very strong for the entirety of PvE, but he's been very heavily nerfed. So I don't know how strong he's going to be going into live, but he should be at least be strong. But yeah, uh, his ranged ability, I'll just try to describe it. He has these charges he places on enemies, and then when he casts, he blows up the charges. It's kind of similar to set 1 Gangplank, except it's like on the targets. And he just randomly like throws the charges onto like targets over time. I think it's up to, he throws up to 3 charges. And then yeah, but like it's very cool and very good. Uh as a melee, which I mean people don't run, but you would give him generic bruiser stuff. He's not like bruisery. He has like a little bit of healing, but he's not that tanky, so uh yeah, I mean I think this would help. I think maybe he's a better deep roots user than he's an invisible user. Actually, I'll probably give that because stability does double damage to his visibility. His melee spell does double damage if only one enemy's hit. So yeah, he's a pretty good 1v1er. And yeah, I don't know how often. I mean, maybe this changes. I mean, actually, you're not gonna change how often you use it, but because you get anomalies at 4/6. But yeah, and then Legacy of Shurima, just because he uses both stats well, and yeah, but he's otherwise just a bruiser, so you can make any bruiser uh anomalies, any carry anomalies if you want to. I wouldn't recommend doing so, at least just based on what's meta, but who knows, that might change. And then also, like, yeah, you can do whatever you want if you're. Yeah. But you can also, if you're playing ranged, I mean, you can all swap between ranged and melee at the same time, but like how you would play them are very different. So, yeah, ranged GP has been broken, and yeah, so he's just an AD caster. So you give him AD caster stuff. Uh, this, I'm not sure how well this. So like I got good results, but I don't know if that's just because Gangplank was broken or just because uh this is good. But like in theory, this helps him get charges onto the right units, so he can actually one shot them. Don't know if that's actually true, but yeah. But he's just an a generic AD caster. Take any AD caster anomalies. I think Eagle Eye is okay because he shouldn't move. I think the charges do the work for him, so he doesn't have to move. But and the comps he please play it in don't necessarily have a lot of AD in it. Like it's like very flexible. Pit Fighter is a lot of AD, but Scrap and Form Swapper are like hybrid. So Kog'Maw, Autonomous Sniper, Menace on PBE. Uh, I dropped a comp with Kog'Maw on day one. I got the comp completely wrong, or at least based on what the balance was wrong. Maybe like later on it's right, but the items I got 100% right, and people are still figuring out the items, but I figured them out day one, so I'm happy about that. But Kog'Maw, he passively gains on hit damage, and then his active gives him stacking attack speed and bonus range. So this guy just eventually just attacks really fast and does a lot of damage. He's single target though, but with Automata he has a little bit of AoE. Kog'Maw is the best 1000 cuts user. Uh, the 1000 cuts is the true damage one, and yeah, this is pretty much made for Kog'Maw. It just shreds tanks. Kog'Maw does that anyway, and this is just more of that. This is like adding Vayne Silverbolt's passive onto Kog'Maw's already existing stuff in League. So like you're just doing both things at once. So you eventually just one shot targets. Not like one shots, but like you just completely shred targets one at a time very quickly. Navori made him stack very quickly, but not in the game. Magic training, uh, it's good in the sense that the frontline units scale with AP, even if like the other backliners don't really. Uh, and it also helps Kog'Maw himself get more AP, so it's like I think it's pretty good. It makes his frontline tankier, as like while it's giving him damage. So I think that's why it's pretty good, at least in my opinion. And then hyper velocity, it's like Kog'Maw cast light. It gives him 15, so it just makes it it's the same thing as his active, except it's just less. But like it contributes to the same thing. So like if you're playing around that, it's like the same thing. So it's just better. Like it's like made for Kog'Maw, but not as much as this is. So he's an AP auto attacker. There aren't that many things that work that well, but like he's low mana cost, so like this is good. Uh, he kills stuff really quickly, so that's pretty good. Actually, I don't even think I talked about this yet, but I'll talk about it later when I talk about the people that are the unit that is very good with this. But yeah, we have a Loris from Arcane. He's an Enforcer Sentinel. He's just a tank. He's like Tark from set 9. He does shield, big shield, and he redirects damage taken by adjacent allies. He also does damage. Not a lot of damage, but it's like, I mean, it does damage. Pretty cool. Cosmic Rhythm. This guy shields for 4 seconds. What happens after those 4 seconds? He casts again. Stone Skin. He's a sentinel, but he's also a main tank for Enforcer. A lot of the time, sometimes you run Alawi, but sometimes you run Lorish, depending on what you have. So if you were to actually anomaly him, I think a Stone Skin would probably be worth it. Keep it like sharing the logic that like if you were to run him in Vertical Sentinel, you probably wouldn't be anomalying Loris unless you had like another 3-star carrier, but I don't know who you'd run. Like maybe Ezreal. Like maybe Ezreal Loris reroll, but that's right now that's not a thing. Right now, if you were to anomaly him, it would probably be with Enforcer as the tank. Probably. So I think that's why Stone Skin's pretty good. Slide time is very good because he needs healing. He doesn't have healing. Dramatic Entrance. Takeable. I wouldn't put it that high because in some cases I think he is like the only tank, so that's why I'm like hesitant to recommend Dramatic Entrance on him. But if you're playing a Vertical Sentinel or something, then it can be very good, where like you're not at risk of instantly losing. Nami. This is a trait bot. I think this actual unit completely sucks, but uh, her traits are good. She's Emissary. Her Emissary bonus is broken, and she's a sorcerer, so it's pretty cool. Uh, she launches wave at target, bounces 3 times, to enemies with 3 X's. The problem is that she does too little damage. For comparison, one cost Lux, her one auto attack does more the equivalent or more damage than Nami at every rank. 3-star Lux does more damage than 3-star Nami, like the total damage. So yeah, I think Nami needs buffs. But also her traits are like she's played for Emissary and for +1 sorcerer. So like, yeah, that's her thing. I don't know if they want to make her too strong, but right now this unit is only her traits. Yeah, if you were to actually carry Nami for some reason, uh, generically good stuff. Energy absorption, assuming you're playing sorcerer. If you're not playing vertical sorcerer, I wouldn't take this. I'd take other stuff a bit more. Damage amp, just like the strongest damage amp one, and then stuff that makes her cast more, or anything that makes her like just that's good for mages. So I have Nunu. Triple trait, except not terrible. Bruiser Experiment Visionary. He gets their ability and then he charges his ult. It does damage over time, and then it does more damage at the end. He also has an experiment bonus, which is pretty good. In theory, this unit would be very good, but like in practice, he's like okay at best. Maybe later he'll be a problem, but right now he's not. But he's a connection to Bruiser and Visionary, so that's what he is. Slow Cooker is just synergy with his experiment passive. So if you were to actually play around that, Slow Cooker becomes insane because you just double dip. You just get double Slow Cooker. So if you actually give him healing, he's just like a monster. Like he just does not die. Like you're getting double Slow Cooker pretty much, and that's like actually kind of broken. Stone Skin just as a tank, because that's Nunu is a tank, so yeah, and for the same thing. Nunu's not normally the main tank, so I think this is pretty good to take. If he's ever main tanking, probably don't take it, but like I said, Nunu isn't that strong right now in the comps that he's played. He's not the main tank, so yeah, and this anomaly is broken, so free real estate. Rennie from Arcane. So, she heals. She stuns her targets. For like she like channels a bit. Focuses on one target and she holds them over her head and she stuns them and then she like does damage. She does quite a lot of damage, but like she doesn't hit. She doesn't cast frequently. She doesn't hit a lot of targets, but like her cast is like pretty strong. Also has a hero augment. Without, you can play her as like a bruiser or like a tank. It kind of depends on the comp. As Canberran, she's kind of like the tank because that comp doesn't really have a tank. She's the best thing they have. Whereas a bruiser, like that, I mean, it's a bruiser trait. It's a tank trait, so like maybe you would play her more as like a carry. But yeah, so Cosmic Rhythm, she's channeling for a while and then she does damage. So like, she's cutting the time to cast very short. She's not like chain casting, but she's like pretty close to chain casting. And then that turns her into a monster. Stone Skin is just good on tanks, but especially bruisers, or well, like stuff that doesn't already have armor MR, like Sentinels or Automata. Like I see Shirima because she like kind of does damage, but she's also like a tank. So this helps in both regards. Anything else that helps her do damage or tank, you can play her as a bruiser. You can play her as a, I mean, I guess as a bruiser is how it should be as a carry, but you also either a tank or a bruiser pretty much. So she has options. Not the best deep root user. I mean, you can. Problem is she's kind of slow, and she loses a little bit of damage. You could still deep root her. The thing is, the comps that you normally would play that kind of thing, I don't think it would work well on. However, if you are trying, you like she's a fine kidnapper with deep roots, so maybe. But she also has a hero element. It's called here. Yeah. So it causes her to lunge at the farthest enemy, dealing more damage, and it does damage to enemies in her path. It's more of the same thing, except she like has better access to like backline and stuff. Uh, Here you just kind of like are more committed to the damage aspect, so I prioritize damage. I think this is one of the only cases where Hunger for Power is good because has the tank trait and she wants AD, so you can feed her AD and it'll actually be good. I don't actually know if this is the third best. However, I wanted to highlight it because this is like one of the only cases where you would take it. Even then, there's probably stuff that's better. Like Heavy Hitter might also be better. Like this is like one of the only cases where you're going vertical bruiser. Other like bruiser traits would also be good. Like honestly, like realistically, isn't it just like invisibility? It's probably like invisibility. I should at least put it. Actually, I'm not even gonna pretend that it's not invisibility. Yeah, like I'm not gonna pretend for a second. Like you wanted to aggro drop, so yeah. Scar from Arcane is a Firelight Watcher. Uh, Throws bombs, three nearest enemies, stunning them. Does damage and then heals. Very interestingly, is a Firelight tank. So, she moves around. What is Scar? I don't know what Scar is. Uh, but they yeah. So they are moving around a lot. They're played with Kog'Maw currently, and yeah, they heal from Firelight, but like based on damage taken. I don't know. I think this is just a very interesting concept because they also like they're stun bots, but they heal and they like I don't know. This unit's like kind of insane. But yeah, Cosmic Rhythm. Yeah, that's a very high mana cost, and it's very nice to stun three enemies and heal every 4 seconds. So yeah, Stone Skin because despite all the stuff that Scar has, they do not have armor and MR innately. So yeah, Stone Skin, perfect synergy there. Dramatic Entrance. You play Scar in Vertical Watcher, so you can actually kind of afford to do it. And then this makes yeah, you can afford to let them sit out for 6 seconds, and then you have your dramatic entrance bonus, and that anomaly is again insane. So I don't know how this works with Firelight. I think it just doesn't work with Firelight. I'll question mark that. I don't. It probably isn't, but if it did, it would probably be okay because Scar would stun the target, but also two other targets anyway. So you're not missing out on value. So you could maybe kidnap, but I don't think it works with Firelight, so I don't think it's worth it. And that's also like your main tank, so don't know how much you want to do that, but could be a thing. Smeech from Arcane. Is a AD like assassin. It just basically one shots things one at a time. It like resets on kill with reduced damage. The spell it just does a lot of damage to the target. It prioritizes the targets with a few items. It has full range, so it's like it can hit backline, but like it's not gonna hit an important carry until like way later. So like what you normally would do with Smeech is to have Smeech clear the path for an actual carry to one shot important units. I rather Camiron in their ambusher. So like yeah. They like remind me of like set 8 Viego, which is like I think one of my favorite units of all time. Except they're just worse in like every way. But like it's like the same kind of reset mechanic, so Smeech wants aggro drop and crit chance. So this is like perfect. Unbroken. Damage. Just because you're probably if Smeech is your a carry. Smeech is played in the Camille comp as like a secondary carry. But yeah, pretty good. I mean I'd probably prioritize Camille, but like otherwise Smeech is fine. And the finisher is to help get resets. Help like increase the chances of getting the kills. So yeah, any AD item, any AD anomalies, any carry out anomalies, any bruisers, all pretty good. Swain, broken, nerfed, but I mean broken. Form swapper has ranged and melee form. Melee form is one of the best things in the game. Heal and then heal over time and then do damage and then uh duration of healing increased on takedown. Backline just throws like stuff. He just throws AoE like things. Actually, it's not even AoE. It's like I guess it's closer to like set 11 Ash, where he throws like a certain amount of birds to targets within a range, but most often a tank. Uh, he can solo frontline, so Stone Skin's very good. Uh, Getting two gargoyles for free, pretty much. Diving in, I think is pretty interesting because if he's not the main tank, or even if he is, but what he can do, he has his AoE, everything's AoE. You can dive him into the backline, and now he's suddenly drain tanking on the backline, and he's still a tank, so he's not dying, but he's hitting the backline instead of the front line. So I think it's pretty good. Like they're gonna struggle to kill him anyway. So yeah. And then slime time is like yeah, I don't know if this is actually the third best, but I mean I don't know, it's just slime time. Like what else would I put? I mean if he's not the if he's not solo tanking, he could be good at slow cooker. He could be good with stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Sven is just OP. Like it's probably not slime time, but I don't know who would be. Okay, let's just slow cooker. That probably makes more sense. Yes. Oh, so like, if he has time to ramp, I mean, Swain is just very tanky, so he'll last a long time. So you can probably get away with getting slow cooker, like realistically. And then ranged, I mean, he's just like a, I mean, he's a better version of Nami, I guess. But like, he's a very generic, just mage. Uh, to give him generic mage stuff, or I mean, okay, universal damage amp, APE for if you're going sorcerer. You might not be playing sorcerer, but you might also playing. He's a conqueror sorcerer, so even in conqueror, if you play him as a backliner, uh, energy absorption would be pretty good. Headhunter, I don't know if you'd main carry him. I don't actually know if it's Headhunter. I don't know what it would be. If it's like, it's not that his range form is bad. It's just that his melee form is like better. What would I take? Oh, it could just be magic expert, maybe. I'll put magic expert because I don't know what. I feel like he's has the setup to be a magic expert user because he has two traits that can give him AP. Wrong thing. Last three cost is Twisted Fate. He's a quick striker and an enforcer. His spell's cool. Uh, so he throws three different cards. The blue card heals an ally. The red card does damage to largest group clump of enemies in a one hex AoE. And his yellow card stuns current target for 1 second, and it does like more damage. So the thing about Twisted Fate is that he's the only AP unit in this comp, and in this comp, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to play. It's like Twisted Fate's like a good unit, but it's like kind of in limbo. Uh, with this being removed, uh, if he's your main carry, it's probably comeback story, just because it's just the best damage amp anomaly. Nothing wasted. Uh, just to get him casting more. Like, I don't know, Twisted Fate has been in limbo the entirety of the PP cycle, so it's hard to say. But I think because the thing is, he wants too much stuff. So I would probably be okay with this. Like, I think nothing wasted is fine. And then Magic Expert, just because he doesn't, he needs AP. So I think just giving him more is fine. Because he has damage jump from Enforcer, so he has attack speed from Quick Checker. So I think you just need like Shojin plus AP. But you also can't pass up on Comeback Story because that shit's broken. Okay, let's rest a bit. Okay. Ambessa. So then Emissary, Quick Striker, Conqueror. Uh, her thing is long. So she has two forms. She starts off in the chain form, which has one additional range and it does more damage. When she casts, she does an AoE sweep and then she swaps forms into the fist form. The fist form has Omnivamp and double attack speed, but it only has one range and it does less damage. And then when it casts to go back into the chain form, it stuns target and then slams into the ground doing that thing. So basically she swaps between like range damage and then like actually I mean she does more damage in the Omnivamp form. But yeah, being range versus like the healing form. Which is an AD bruiser. Emissary bonus is pretty strong. So Ambessa, being a bruiser, likes invisibility because she likes the aggro drop. Can use the crits decently okay as well. Comeback story, more damage. I mean, Ambessa is main carryable, so she normally needs a secondary carry, but like I mean, you can very easily have her as like your main carry and like anomaly her. So yeah, and then Headhunter, if she is your main carry, uh, she has Quick Striker, but she also doubles her attack speed. So there's actually a lot of value in having attack speed, like even more of it. You can take a lot of stuff. Any generic carry or bruiser anomaly would work well. Honestly, I'm just gonna put this here. I think once she goes into her healing form, she actually like just shreds units. Like she attacks really fast. Could also be strength training actually. Corky is a scrap artillerist. He's a very strong AD caster carry. His spell, he he like strafes around, and he's firing a bunch of missiles split between the target and enemies nearby. These missiles reduce armor, and then yeah, every seventh does more damage and more armor. Yeah, he's an AD caster. He's an artillerist. I don't know how this works with his thing because his spell has like an inconsistent duration, and I've never taken this on him. In theory, it could be strong or broken, but I don't actually know. If not, I think Comic Story just generically broken, and then uh, more kill streak. His stuff is his spell is a channel, so you can actually get multiple kills from a spell, and then he can chain cast that way. His cost isn't that high. Yeah, it's only 60. So like you can get like 2 kills and be pretty close to your next cast. Another thing I'm not sure about is I don't know how repulsor works when he's targeting multiple things. I don't know how repulsor works in general. I understand how it would work in a single target scenario, but in an AoE scenario, I have no idea how it works. There's a lot of units in the past, or like that I already talked about. That I didn't really like mention this, but for some reason I thought about it with Corky. But I guess there's other. I mean, I guess Corky does pick a main target though, right? Yeah, he picks a main target, so I guess I would just work on that. But Yeah. So it's probably not on you, but like in general, Repulsor is like super unexplored. So Mundo is a 4-cost tank. He's an Experiment Dominator. This is a straight combo. His cast, he heals over 2 seconds and does damage. And then afterwards, he does damage to enemies within 2x's. His experiment bonus, he gets health. He gets health. Uh, his spell lasts 2 seconds. Cosmic Rhythm is broken. Stone Skin is broken because he doesn't have. I mean, okay, it's just a broken tank, and yeah, he also doesn't have armored MR, so like it's like more broken. Genetic Entrance, he is a main tank worthy. However, he's not often the main tank, and a lot of the time, even when he is, you can put other units on the board, and the board isn't gonna die without him for uh 6 seconds, and then he also heals more because his max health is higher. So, yeah. There's 4-cost tank broken. He's also Dominator. He's not gonna cast very much with Dominator, but he's still like because his cost is high, he's still getting a good amount of AP. So in theory, he goes into infinite, but he has something like Cosmic Rhythm. He like actually will go infinite. Echo is a AP assassin. Triple trait. Ambusher Scrap, like powder, but he's also a Firelight, which is a interesting combo. Echo's is very good, but like his role is like there aren't many champions in his role. Uh, so he does damage to targets and stuff AOE, and then he reduces magic resist a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know how to describe his ability. It just does good damage, and yeah, he's just good. I think this is like in a similar category as like set 10 Zen, where like I don't really know how the spell works. Like it's like it seems simple enough though, but like it just does damage in like a barrage to targets and nearby enemies. But yeah. Ambusher plus melee. Yeah, this is I mean it's broken on him. And he's Firelight. So yeah, all so like the Camille clip that people might have seen. Yeah, you can just do that on Echo. Uh, yeah, and this guy just will never take any kind of damage. Like he didn't have to be like actually one shot to be killed. Comeback story, generic damage. Echo isn't like a main carry. He's like a secondary carry, but I mean he's still very good, and comeback story can be very good. Like if I saw invisibility, I would just take it on him, as long as I was like I planned on putting items on Echo. Or if I see this, I'd probably just take it on Corky, because these two are scrap, so they're often played together. So I'd probably put it on Corky, but like Echo's not bad either. Last chance, to help keep Echo alive a bit. Increase the odds that he kills backline. I mean, he doesn't like die of backline, but like he could do a lot. Last chance. But even something like stupid degenerates, like I think he's actually not a bad diving in units. But I don't. Isn't that like? Yeah, I don't know. Elise form swapper. She's the main CC unit as so in her melee form. She is the main CC unit, the 4-cost CC unit. Uh, so jumps to nearby hex stun and AoE 2x's. It's like Jarvan ult from set 9, except it's slower, but like it's the same thing, in like the same range. a large AoE stun, and she heals. So like it's better in that regard. And, like she got buffed, and like I think they doubled the healing. So like yeah, like she got buffed. And then in her ranged form, she sends spiders that explode, and she's like just a mage. But yeah, another case where the melee is just broken. So what do we do? Well, look at her mana cost. Ain't no way she's casting multiple times. Unless she's Cosmic Rhythm, then she's casting every 4 seconds and stunning the enemy board. Like pretty much the entire enemy board for 2 seconds every 4 seconds. That might be the one of, if not the strongest interactions in the game. Yeah, very balanced. Uh, you can also take invisibility. Now this hurts her mana regen, but it increases the odds that she gets multiple casts. She's not gonna cast very fast, so like her second cast will be like pretty late into a fight, but like she will be alive. I don't really know if this is actually the best option, but yeah. I'm not gonna troll like that. Let's just go with dramatic entrance. She gets the dramatic entrance proc, and then she uses her cast, and then she basically doubles her roll. That's pretty good. And then last chance, also not a carry. I was kind of getting caught in the idea of her casting multiple times. So that's realistically probably not gonna do that. So let's look for a better alternative. Honestly, let's just say Sun Skin. That seems about right. At least it's like not really a main tank. I mean, they buffed it so that maybe she could like her healing is pretty decent now, but her cast takes a long time, so she's not like as tanky as other units. But she has Form Swapper and Bruiser, so like she does have like setup for it. So I mean, I can entertain her being a main tank. Like the problem is that now, like with them buffing her healing, now she just actually does everything like too well, and her traits are like all insane. So as a in her ranged form, she's just a caster. She's just like an AP caster mage. Essence of more Navori is not in the game, but yeah, you just take if you are main carrying ranged Elise, which you can do in some niche scenarios. I think most of the time you want her melee form, but if you don't need her melee form, uh, take her range form. Comeback stories quite good. Nothing wasted, quite good. I didn't put the last one. I don't know what the last one would be. I don't think. I think her mana cost is like somewhere in like the 80 range. I don't actually know. I can't check. What would the third one be? I don't think it's kill streak. I think her mana cost is like a bit higher than that. I don't know if it's so high that you would want Cosmic Rhythm, because you would probably realistically put a Shojin on her, and then you're barely getting anything from Cosmic Rhythm. It could be energy absorption. Even if she herself is not a sorcerer or any or visionary or anything, energy absorb. She's played in pretty much exclusively AP boards, so I could see it. Get a lot of AP from that. Garen is a tank. Uh, he has pretty much any passive from sets 10, 11? Set 11. And then he has a he's pretty much any from set 11. Except instead of casting on herself, Garen casts on his target. So yeah, but otherwise pretty much the same thing. Actually, he also he shields and she healed, but like whatever. Basically, whenever he does damage, he heals a small amount of his max health. And then his cast shields and does damage. So playing around his passive is the key. I mean, okay, so he's also Emissary Watcher. Watcher, Emissary. He likes having stuff next to him. He gets... So his Emissary buff, uh, he gets bonus health, and then so do the allies on his left and right. He casts often. He gets shield often. His shield lasts 4 seconds. So yeah, he permacasts, and yeah, he shields and he heals a little bit because he hits a lot of things. Other things in the same vein, Garen can solo carry. Positioning is a little awkward. Positioning is a little awkward, but it's fine. Like it doesn't really like you don't have to treat it as an actual stone plate. But yeah, and slow cooker, he's healing every time with his procs, so yeah, that's kind of very broken. It says AoEs and it hits the whole board, which you can realistically get to because you're hitting so many things that you're healing a lot from his passive. It is a very insane synergy. Garen isn't seen like that often as any tank. I think with a little bit of tweaking, the meta will shift in his favor and then he'll be very broken. Or people will realize that these things are all broken, so yeah. Heimer, Heimer has been like the terrorist of PvE. This unit was actually disgustingly broken. Academy Visionary. He fires missiles at random enemies, and then each cast he fires one more missile. Yeah, they gutted his damage. This guy was broken. He's another one of like these users. Like he just spam casts, ramps up that way. So yeah, this was super broken. Run. Killstreak's still very good. He's a visionary, so it's like more value. With 2 visionary, or I mean, with 4 visionary, it's enough to just guarantee. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. But yeah, with the visionary, like playing around with visionary and killstreak, you can very easily get enough mana to just chain cast, and then nothing wasted is the same thing except a little less. I think the proc condition is a little different. Like I think it's easier to proc killstreak on Heimer than it is to proc nothing wasted. It's kind of it's kind of interchangeable just based on how the game's going, but in general, you just want them to get mana to cast more and scale up faster. Hyper velocity, same thing, except it's just the attack speed version. You can also work well with magic training. Other just mage anomalies or just carry anomalies. Like even if you took like comeback story, like I mean that's also perfectly fine. This unit was super broken. He might be more balanced now because they nerfed him a lot. But yeah. Ilawi is a sentinel. She's probably one of the best tanks in the game. Rebel Sentinel. Gains durability, and then over the duration she drains health from the nearest enemies, so it's like Nessus. and that like current set masses, and then she does damage, scaling with armor and MR. So we noticed 3 second duration, and then we know what that means, right? And then Stone Skin is because she's a main tank and she's very strong. She's a very strong tank. So it also makes her do more damage, but that doesn't really matter very much. But yeah. And then dramatic entrance is if she's not if your opponent isn't gonna die, a lot of the cases she will. They will, so in that case you wouldn't take it, you would take something else. But in cases where it's not, then in cases where your frontline's fine, then this is very good. Like if your frontline's weak and you need your Lowy for the first 6 seconds, just take something like Slow Cooker or just another generic tank option. Like it's perfectly fine. Silco's Chimerian Dominator, main carry of the Chimerian line. Uh, yeah, also Dominator. So you just want to stack mana items on him. Oh yeah, his cast. He summons little. He does damage to target, and then he summons little gremlins, and then they attack his targets. So yeah, and this. I mean, this just ramps up to be pretty good, but it's like not. It's like Corky Light, but like, I mean, it's like Heimerdinger Light because it doesn't ramp up like that. But he gets AP, so like it ramps up in like a more normal way. His cost is high enough that you can just go Cosmic Rhythm and then use like you can use removers to just give him like damage items and then remover your mana items onto a different unit. If you're playing on Dominator, you'll have someone else to put items on. If you were to not, I mean, whatever. Like I think 80 is like at that point where like I think that's fine to take Cosmic Rhythm, especially since like you can just all in and you can just make sure that he does like uh as much damage as possible. Give him stuff like JG and like all that stuff. Gunblade, you can give him like just completely double down on like the fact that you have infinite scaling in multiple facets, and then also not have to worry about mana. And then damage imp, headhunter. Uh, Another one I want to talk about is mage armor because he's infinitely ramping AP from Dominator. But I mean, obviously this is not that fast, but uh, it's at the point where like if you were to give him Gunblade and then you were to give him Mage Armor, he could be tanky enough to like survive when people are directly on him. I think that's something that could be explored, given the meta, like changing a little bit. But like as a 4 cost unit, like it's a bit more viable than with something like Ziggs, or like especially since he's like more single targets, more total like his total damage is higher, so he's easier to play around. Next we have Twitch. Sniper Experiment. His experiment bonus. Uh, he does bonus damage every 5 attacks. And it's pretty good, but like it's a little awkward to play. Experiment is just a little awkward to play, so Twitch is like having a bit of a strong time, even though I think the unit itself is very strong. You don't want to just play around Sniper for now. When Experiment gets looked at again, there's potential, but like for now, it's fine. So his ability, gain attack speed for the next 8 attacks, infinite range, and then you fire a bolt. So it's like his league ult. The bolts like aren't locked and they can penetrate the units. They do bonus damage and then they do reduce damage for each enemy they pass through. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I said it. He targets random enemies. I think that's a pretty big thing. So he's just firing like in a straight line at random targets and hits everything that uh like the bolt that's on the path. So Twitch has a very good interaction with Dragon Soul, which I can finally show. Uh, the first attack on a new target fires a Dragon Soul blast, dealing 12%, 20% max health 2 damage. Every time he hits a new target, he procs it. Uh, what Twitch can do, other champions cannot, is he can hit multiple champions for the first time earlier into a fight. So every time he fires a bolt and hits a new target, he procs the thing. So yeah, a lot of other units have to wait one at a time to get it to happen, whereas Twitch can do it pretty much immediately, and sometimes that can be enough to just burst targets down and win the fight. So very strong. Uh, Otherwise, Titanic Strikes works with the bolts. I'm pretty sure. I haven't played it, but I think I've played against it, and that's very strong. Even if not, uh, it's still just pretty good on Sniper and on Twitch. Like it's the way you'd want to play him. So if it doesn't work on the bolts, it would be lower priority, but it'd still be very good. Strength training is because you play around Sniper and all the other snipers for the most part, except for Kog'Maw, want AD, and he attacks a lot, so it's very good. Uh, Otherwise, generic carry augments like Comeback Story, or just any other AD augments, would be very good. I don't know how 1,000 Cuts worked or Touch of Frost works on Twitch. I would imagine Touch of Frost works on everything that the bolts touch, and 1,000 Cuts may be the same thing. I don't know how it's like on hits, on cast stuff, because it's not consistent. So I don't actually know, but like if this works on everything that it touches, maybe it's good. Uh, Maybe. I mean, it doesn't ramp up very fast, so maybe even then it's not as optimal, but it might be like an okay. And then this, in theory, very powerful, but I don't actually know how it works on Twitch. By AD Bruiser, uh, Pit Fighter Enforcer, uh, gain shield, stuns target, like slam targets on them, and then it does damage to them, and then it causes a shockwave in the entire row. So like, she's hitting the Renata, after the slam, she hits the whole row. So if you hit this whole thing, but like if you something like that, like this just would not be hit. Her spell takes a little bit of time, not that long, but like that's also a pretty high mana cost. So Cosmic Rhythm would make her cast a lot more. Invisibility because she's a melee carry, and that would make her survive more, and also do good damage. And then last chance, just to kind of guarantee like a last cast. I don't actually know if this is the best thing. I know it's not diving in because it's very unlikely that she gets to hit someone on the last row. Uh, it could just be like comeback story or something, or maybe dramatic entrance. But I don't feel as bad putting last chance in here, so I'll leave it there. Like this one can change this. But yeah, AD Bruiser. Uh, Main carry for Enforcer comp, kind of like apart from Caitlyn. Uh, Very good in Pit Fighter comp. Like it's just a very generic AD Bruiser. You can also play her as a tank, which isn't like a good tank, but you can play as a tank. Zoe's a rebel sorcerer. She throws a projectile and it bounces to the furthest enemy. It like ricochets off of stuff, but it goes back to the original target a lot. So like, unless she casts it onto Leona, it was like pew and then random targets and then back to main target and then another random target and then back main target. It's like it could be like pew 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 pew. I think it can hit the same target twice as well, so it can be like, but yeah. She hits the main target 3 times and then two other random targets. Uh Damage amp, uh faster casting, faster casting. Can also take uh stuff like nothing wasted. The only thing is that Zoe's like generally played with a lot of other backliners because the comps she's played in. In Sorcerer, she's in Rebel. There's a lot of backline. There isn't that much frontline, so she's not going to pocket that much. But some other comps have a bit more frontline for her, so it might work. Like if you were to play her in like Vertical Sentinel or something, then it could work out pretty well. But I'll do it. I think this one is just too good. But yeah. But otherwise, stuff like Magic Expert, Energy Absorption, all that stuff can be very good. Take another break from my throat. Okay, finally the 5 costs. Caitlyn is a Force Runner sniper, just like Maddie. Her spell's a bit complicated. She's 50 mana cost. Uh, her spell targets large like clusters of enemies, and then it's like centered around one enemy, and then uh, if an enemy is like directly hit by the blast, it's she fires a auto at them, and it okay. The blast reduces their armor number, and then she fires a shot at them, dealing damage. It's hard to explain, but like she like hits AoE cycles, and then if it's a direct hit, which a lot of the times there will be, she'll fire like an empowered auto onto them, and it's a lot of damage. I don't know how it works with the duration. Uh, if it just because it lasts longer than a thing, so I don't know how it works if it like procs while it's she's already casting. But even if not, eh, I'm leaning towards this not being good. Maybe now that I think about it, that's hard to say. Dragon Soul. This plus the empowered thing, like she will pull probably just one shot whatever she hits with that, so it is very good. Uh, this is free AD. She's not spending a lot of time autoing, so it's not like a strength training angle, even though you can take this. But other options would be like, I'm not super confident in this just because like uh it doesn't give like if it gave some starting AD, it would be a bit better. But I'm not gonna. It takes too long for this to be like comparable to other stuff, so I don't know if this is the best. Like it might just like the third best might be like power absorption, or it might be like uh honestly maybe even that. Uh, could be like there's like options. Okay, honestly, the only one that I'm confident in is that this is very good on Caitlyn. But uh, Caitlyn is very versatile. Any carry, any AD option would be very good. Yeah, I already talked about the thing I wanted to talk about here. So, but if this is also broken, it would be very broken. However, I don't know. I don't actually. I think this is a case where it doesn't work. So, okay. Jace melee. The final form flopper. He gets this thing. Pretty cool. He's an academy and he's a form flopper. Uh, yeah. So his melee form. Okay. Passively, he gets this thing. When he casts, it gives a shield to the 3 closest allies, and then it has a health bar. If it dies, he revives it. So, pretty good. It's free frontline. It's for shielding. It's pretty good. His melee form, he hits a target through actually they like so he just has it flying through like the screen. So like basically it'll be like a portal here, a portal here. You'll hit the targets or something, and it'll go flying across, or it'll go like whatever the direction it is, in like some line. It'll form some line, and it'll hit all enemies in that line, and then it'll take them back to their main locate to starting location. So yeah, like let's say it's like in here, goes here, and it goes back, and then it lands in the original slot, and anything in the path takes damage. It's like a weird ability, and it doesn't like it's not like that useful. It's like kind of like a melee damage dealer, but it's like not like super reliable. But like it's like I don't know, it's funny to look at least. And it's not like the damage is low, it's just it's like hard to like plan around. His backline form just it throws like little like explosives, like I think AoE. It just does damage to like uh main target and stuff nearby. So Jason melee, his spell takes a while, so he just casts it again, and it also has like high mana cost. So when it finishes, he just casts it again, and that does work. Invisibility, I don't know how good he's. I don't see him super often as a carry. He's kind of just like a random flex unit. So, but he'd probably be good with invisibility. And then Deep Roots is so his spells are kind of cool in that he can kidnap people with Deep Roots, but then he also hits like everything else, and then uh he comes back to 1v1ing. So that's another Deep Roots interaction. Otherwise, just any bruiser ones. You can also run him as a tank. I don't think he's a very good tank. I mean, he has the crystal thing, so maybe it's like not a bad tank, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't like. It's not that I don't like it. I don't see this unit very much, so it's just every time I play on 5 cost, I play around like all the other 5 costs pretty much. I just play with Jace for spawn swapper. Like, I don't know, whatever. Range Jace. I think I've played even less than melee Jace, but I would assume I don't actually know what the mana cost is, so I don't actually know how good Cosmic Rhythm is. Uh, but probably not bad. But I know he's a caster, so just put your damage items on him, and he'll do good. At the very least, these are probably good. But like, yeah, I don't play. This one's my bad, but depending on the mana cost, could be good. I don't want to come. I don't know if there's any interaction here. I'm not gonna pretend like there is, but yeah. Jinx. Yeah, this unit is interesting. So she has 3 casts. She cycles through them. Her first cast does damage and stuns in a line. Like, so she hits like her target's here. She hits like the whole line. Her second cast, Flame Choppers, physical damage in a 1 hex circle to 3 different enemies. Good AoE damage. Final cast, Death Rocket. Rocket to center of the board, which is like here. And it does massive explosion, hitting the entire board. And the damage scales with how far away they are from the epicenter. So if they're close, they take more damage. If they're far away, they take less damage. And it does a lot of damage. So yeah, they removed that. Comeback story. It's just easy damage amp. Call of the week. So the way Jinx's targeting works is that like she'll get the bonus damage for the death rock. Like she'll get the damage amp based on the current target for her cast. So she gets like bonus crit damage. And then for other cases, it like I don't know. I might be overrating this, but it feels good with her ambusher. So I'm not sure. And Headhunter is just more attack speed, so she casts faster. I want to recommend like Kill Streak, but like the cast that matters the most is the last one, and like it's kind of hard to like reliably funnel that one because you have to cycle through all 3 casts. But yeah, any AD carry, like any AD anomalies, any carry anomalies are all good on her. LeBlanc, yeah. So Black Rose Sorcerer, like Vlad, except she's not a Watcher. Uh, her spell chains the like 4 enemies, and then she does damage split between them, and then uh for a certain amount of time, the damage that one takes is also split to the others as bonus 2 damage. And then she also gets bonus arrow attacks that do bonus damage. So uh also she changed these 4 units. She still damage splits amongst all of them, and then for a certain duration, all the damage that one of them takes is done to the other three. Like a portion of it is done to the other three. And then LeBlanc herself can also do like damage to her targets, and then that damage is like shared to like the other three. But it works with your teammates too, so that's very strong. So LeBlanc can chain cast with Cosmic Rhythm, so it is broken. And then otherwise damage amp, and then this is like uh if she I don't know how it works if you share the how the finisher works with like how this overkill works with the damage share. Like, I don't think we're gonna get another like Ludens what's the item? The crown item, the shimmer scale item with Ludens. I don't think we're gonna get one of those cases, but I mean it might be. I haven't seen it, but even if not, like you're still helping get your uh like you're still helping LeBlanc, and it helps like it's easy to proc, so you can still get away with that. Another thing is talk about Fireball. Like it's not like it's like BIS anywhere. It's like it's a generically good one anomaly, but it's like you get it for the burn. But she can Fireball and it hits everyone in the or like the damage share. So like the damage share of the Fireball is there, so you get more Fireball value because it's doing its damage is being amplified. It's not that it would be like BIS, but it's like kind of cool interaction. Malzahar is another dot champion. Uh, Automata Visionary. Uh, he is damage is a bit slow, but like there will be some point in time where this guy's probably very broken. So what he does is he hits enemies like in a line, and then he does damage to them. I guess shreds them too, and then he spreads stacks of infection between enemies hit, and then enemies that are infected with infection uh take damage every second for the rest of combat, and this stacks infinitely. And when the infected target dies, it spreads their stacks to nearby enemies. So pretty much the stacks are permanently on the field until the round ends. So when you cast, it's 5 stacks spread amongst whoever was hit. And the next time you cast, it's 10 stacks amongst whoever, and it just adds up. And it's permanently damaging something. They could all be on one target, they can all be on whatever, but uh, you're just adding all these stacks, and eventually it'll get to the point where the whole board is overrun with infection stacks. Uh, Malzahar is a visionary, so he's very good with mana specifically, but otherwise just damage amp is very good. Uh, if you're playing around him casting lots, he can be with magic training too. Because he's a dot champion, the finisher is good. Any other mage anomalies or carry anomalies would be good on him. But in particular, he likes mana. Because he gets more of it. And if he wasn't a visionary, I'd even consider running Cosmic Rhythm. But the thing is, if you're gonna be building a Malzahar, you're probably gonna be having like a ton of like attack speed and mana items on him. So like I would probably just like let that happen instead of getting Cosmic Rhythm. Now we have Mordekaiser, probably who probably was the strongest unit during the PvE, like the actual strongest unit. The Conqueror Dominator. Uh, he just a ton of damage. His cast. He gains their ability. He summons a claw and he does the damage to like enemies in a line. The four closest get pulled to him. This often hits like a lot of units, but only the four closest get pulled to him. And then afterwards, he replaces his auto attack with a slam, and it does AoE damage. He also gets Omni Vamp in range. And yeah, he just does a lot of damage. And he should, yeah. Uh, so this guy's a frontliner. So, yeah, being untargetable is very nice. Uh, this, I don't actually know if this is. Mm, nah, not on the shipping. Because I mean the slam, like he's already like it's already gonna be hitting everything anyway, so I don't think it's worth it. And you don't actually care about the crit there. But yeah, so yeah, damage amp. Generic damage amp is OP. Legacy of Shurima. Uses both stats well, so it works really well. Any bruiser, any AP anomaly, uh, some other stuff also works well on him. Honestly, even tank anomalies aren't even bad on him. His team is very strong. He's been nerfed, but like he's very strong. So there is a lot of stuff that works really well on him. Rumble is really cool because he has Junker King, which it every 3 rounds you can add like stuff to his ability. Like not to his cast, but like he Rumble does like more stuff that you can buy. His actual cast, it rains 5 missiles and it does a lot of damage. And yeah, it's on target row, so like it's not gonna hit everything, but it'll hit a lot and then it'll burn and do a lot of damage and yeah. Yeah, he does crap sentinel. Very good traits. He fills out those he's very often uses like a trait bot, even though he's actually a very good unit. Uh Cosmic Rhythm. So like if you're missing all the rockets and like it cannot don't need it, but like assuming you hit your rockets, uh and this cast also takes a little bit of time anyway, you're just gonna be spam casting rockets and it's very strong. He is melee, so invisibility is very strong to keep him alive. Combat story is just damage. Yeah, very cool unit to look at, especially when he has all his stuff, all his stuff added. He can get. Is there a way I can see it? No, but he has a lot of effects. He can throw like a rod that does damage to stuff. He has a flamethrower. He has a self-destruct button. He has a lot of cool effects. And finally, we have Savika. She is a 5 cost Chem Baron and a Pit Fighter. She also has High Roller trait, which when she's casting, she can randomly add stuff to her ability. So, uh, she's rolling. So she has effects and she has her actual cast that has different spells. Uh, so High Roller those, it can either add like the rockets, the shield, the coin, or triple. Uh, yeah. And then Civic herself has 3 different abilities that she just randomly chooses between. So the first one's a flamethrower, which is very, very strong. It just does a lot of damage in a cone. but it's like couldn't one shot pretty much anything because it channels until she kills her target. So because of those 2 damage, she will kill her target eventually. And then her second ability is Extendo Punch, which is large damage. It's a lot of damage in single target. It knocks them away, and it like slams and does AoE damage, and it's like pretty good. And then Chomp is like a reset cast. It does a lot of single target burst. And then if she kills, she can cast again on another target, dealing reduced damage. Yeah, very strong units. AD Bruiser, AD Assassin kind of item. So yeah. Very good with invisibility. She just likes being alive. I mean, so this keeps her alive, and then yeah, you just want it to last long enough to one shot. Because like most of the time when she casts, she will kill whatever she's hitting. So you just want her to be able to cast enough to kill enough things that matter. So you just want her to stay alive. I have diving in here. Diving has the potential to be like her best one by far, but that's you're just praying that you roll a flamethrower, which you can't reliably do. But best case scenario, you roll flamethrower first, like the first cast, and you just jump, and it's AoE and one shot the entire backline. However, that's not super reliable, so I can't properly recommend it. But another thing is that she doesn't need. She's like she has so much innate damage. She doesn't need that much additional damage to get to the point where she one shots. So like all of this more utility stuff is pretty good on her. Yeah, that is everything. That is every unit. Uh, so remember this is not fact. There's no stats on this. This is my opinion and this is my observation. Uh, but that is every unit with their best anomalies and a bunch of other ones covered. Obviously, the best way to learn is to by playing for yourself, but this will hopefully help everyone understand anomalies a bit better and how to play around them, and understand that they're not very balanced. And yeah. But for the stream, I mean, I'll finish everything later. But for the stream, I think I'm gonna call it there. It is late, and my throat is dying. So yeah, the set launches tomorrow, or I think it's what 3 a.m. So what's PST? So what that'd be like 4 hours from now. But I'm not gonna be awake for that. I'll. I mean, I'm just gonna finish this later throughout the day, and then try to get it by the afternoon tomorrow, or I guess technically today. But yeah, so that's all for this stream. Hopefully next stream I will get some gameplay, but I'll also have like I have other similar videos to make on different topics for this set. So over the course of the week and the next week, I will try to get those done. But yeah, no one's touched these at all. Like literally no, everyone is afraid of anomalies. So yeah, once people start talking about this, about anomalies and like which one's the best, that's what we're gonna go into. Uh, really looking into like what's the best things to pick. but I normally do a pretty good job, so I'm pretty confident in most of these. Yeah, that's it for now. Uh, Goodbye, everyone.